Ready to get the show on the road?
All right.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. First thing we're going to do is have an invocation by Police Chaplain Chris Ryberg, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Heavenly Father, dear Lord, just thank you for allowing us to be here today. And God, we're just so thankful for all the blessings that you bestow upon us. God, we ask today that you be with the mayor and the commissioners and give them wisdom and direction as to whatever decisions that need to be made. God, give them guidance in making those decisions. God, we ask that you be with our city manager and bless him and use him as our leader, and God, we pray that you bless him and everything that he does. And God, we ask that you be with all the city employees, God, that work so hard all week long, week in and week out. And God, we pray that you just bless them in a mighty way. And God, once again, we ask everything said and done here tonight will honor and glorify you. And we ask all these things in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one
nation,
under
God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chaplain. Thank you, Chaplain. All right. Moving along to number 3 on the agenda. Additions, deletions, or modifications. Mr. Lightfoot, you have one.
Yes, sir. We need to remove item number 10, the discussion and possible approval of resolution 2026-02-519. We have a couple documents we still need from DOT. We hope to bring that back at a future meeting.
No problem. Any issues or concerns with that? Nope. All right. Any other additions or deletions?
Mayor, if I may, can we add the appointment of city manager to the agenda?
Yes, sir. So 16, discuss current status. Would that be a good?
Good.
All right. Current status of city manager hire. All right. Everyone good with that? All right.
Motion.
Yes, please.
Make a motion to approve the deletion and addition.
I have a second.
Second.
All right. Got a second and a third. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Mr. Lightfoot, call the roll.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes. Thank you for that. All right. Number 4, proclamation, Flood Awareness Week. Proclamation. Whereas the city of Lynn Haven, Florida has experienced severe weather in the past in the form of extreme rainfall or tropical storm events resulting in the flooding in West Bay area of Florida, and this flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes, buildings, and all areas, whether they are high-risk special flood hazard areas or low to moderate risk flood zones. And whereas the city of Lynn Haven, Florida is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance at reduced insurance premium rates, as well as setting higher regulatory standards to reduce the flood risks and potential flood damage to their property. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property can be achieved when appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures are taken before a flood. And whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of residents. The Florida Floodplain Managers Association, FFMA, have declared the week of March 9th through the 15th of 2026 as Flood Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance and flood protection methods, and how to prepare for such emergencies. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Lowry, and the City Commission, by virtue of the authority vested in us by the laws of Lynn Haven and Bay County, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week beginning March 9th, 2026 as Flood Awareness Week, and further encourage our citizens to increase their knowledge of how to protect themselves, their families, and their property from flooding. In witness thereof, I have set my hand and caused the seal of City of Lynn Haven affixed to this date, the 24th day of February 2025. There is your proclamation. All right. We're moving along to the consent agenda. We have 2 items up. We have approval of our last commission meeting's minutes on February 10th, and then we also have to declare asset 4794 surplus and authorize staff to transfer the trailer to another police agency.
Mayor, I would like to add on page 6 of your agenda packet, whoever makes the motion to approve the minutes, they point out the Mr. Clubs is missing on item 9, page 6 of the minutes. It just says Mr. Ms. Rushing will fix that in the minutes, but would like to point that out before it's approved.
Okay, so a pen and ink change. For those of you in the back, the Mr. Clubs, who we appointed to our planning board, in the minutes, it just had Mr. and did not include his last name. That will be manually added to the draft hard copy that the commission received. So if we approve it, his name will be added. That's, I guess you would call it a pen and ink change. So any discussion? Ma'am.
Thank you. On number 6, I'm just curious, for the sake of transparency, who are we giving the trailer to? What other police agency?
Yes, ma'am. It's in the agenda item that we will give that to the Panama City Police Department, and we will trade that for $8,000 worth of radio install labor in police vehicles.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? If not, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Lightfoot.
Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes. Thank you for that. All right, old business. Number 7, second reading of ordinance 1185, amending the code of ordinances to prohibit smoking and vaping, in city parks.
An ordinance of the City Commission of Lynn Haven, Florida, amending the city's code of ordinances to prohibit smoking and vaping in city parks, repealing ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
So this is the second reading. Is there any formal action the commission needs to take on this tonight?
I make a motion, we approve.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Lightfoot, if you'll call the roll. Oh, my apologies. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right. Any public commentary tonight on this ordinance? We read it the last time. We just read it this meeting as well, to prohibit smoking and vaping in the city parks. The state of Florida largely prescribes the places where this can be done. However, cities are allowed to set their own rules when it comes to public parks and places within our city where our children play, playgrounds and parks. So this gives us the ability to manage that. That's what we're doing here. Any questions or discussions? Bueller. And with that, hearing none, the city manager will call the roll.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes. Thank you for that. All right. Number 8 on the discussion of public commentary in town hall. Commissioner Ward.
So I know we've talked about this quite a bit. I think this is the third time we've discussed it, and this is the first time possible action taken on it. But as I discussed before, to me, the idea was to have a town hall once a month where residents could come in, talk to us. They could have 3 minutes to speak, and then we could interact with them, because that's one of the feedbacks that I get is people come up here, but we don't get that interaction back and forth, and then they feel like they don't always get the answers that they want. And of course, we can answer them in our reports, but to me, I thought after seeing how Panama City does it, it would be a lot more interactive if we had a town hall once a month. And the caveat with that would be you would replace public commentary with audience participation, But the only thing they could talk about in audience participation is anything that's on the agenda. And one thing I forgot with the town halls is if you get through everyone and no one else has anything more, and somebody else wants to come up and speak again, then they could have an opportunity to come up and speak again. They do it on a Saturday at 8 in the morning. I think that might be a little too early, so I'm up for options if it's even something we want to entertain, but maybe on a Saturday at 9 in the morning.
Okay. Any questions or discussions from the rest of the commission? Sir.
I'm okay with it, but I wouldn't want to change anything until we did it a couple times or once or twice, and then format our meeting accordingly. But I'm okay with it. I'm agreeable to town hall every month. All we want to do, but I wouldn't change our format until we deem it a success, so to speak, or you know what I mean.
Basically, test drive it.
Yeah, because, if we're all sitting here staring at each other, what's the use of having it? We gotta see what the turnout is and, run it up the flagpole and see who salutes it.
And to Commissioner's point, or Commissioner Warwick's point last time, when the city of Panama City decided to implement this, a lot of folks were like, this won't work. And they genuinely like it. I actually talked to Commissioner Granger this past week, and they really, really like it. To your point, though, Commissioner Perno, I wouldn't want to change our current structure here until we know that's going to work. Folks like it. We get the kinks kind of worked out. But long term, we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I appreciate you bringing it forward, Commissioner Warwick. You've kind of been a good idea incubator for a while now with a lot of things, and this is definitely something else we can take a hard look at. Any other, ma'am?
How many city employees would it require to be here?
So this is how I envisioned it is it would just be the commissioners, the city manager. I think you're going to have IT if we wanted to record it, right?
Right.
And then I think the only thing I wasn't certain is, do we want the city attorney here? I don't know.
And then we'd need somebody
Either
to take
the city attorney or a stenographer.
We will do that off the
No, you-
recording.
On record?
We'll do it off the recording.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not required. But so, yeah, I don't want all the department heads. And I want to take time away from their valuable time away from them,
You'd likely need a sergeant at arms as well, right?
Yeah.
You need court recorder or minutes along with recording,
We'll
right?
use the recording for the minutes.
Oh,
And I'd like to ask
Mr. Jackson?
Rob, would it require an attorney to be present?
Got to put the mic.
Turn it on. You're going to have to put it right up to your face. Yes, sir. Yeah. And
You got to put it right to your mouth.
you got to put
Okay.
it real close.
Can everybody hear me now? Okay. So the charter requires the city manager to attend all meetings. The charter does not require the city attorney to do that. It's just as directed by the commission. So it would be up to the commission if you all want the city attorney to attend. As far as minutes goes, we have to have written minutes. Those minutes can be taken off of a recording, a video, or a tape recording.
Thank
Would
you.
you recommend having a city attorney there?
It depends on what you all, if it's just a discussion, it's not necessary. It would cost extra money, obviously, to have
Right.
the attorney there, like it would with employees. But if you think you need the attorney, then you could do it on an as needed basis. If you think you need us, you could call us. And if you don't, then you don't. But it's up to you all.
Okay.
Any other discussion amongst the commission?
I would add that I would suggest that it is in the morning, like you said, because a lot of us have kids, and Saturdays is when we do a lot of our, family activities. So if the purpose is to be more available, we need to make sure we actually are more available. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to add that.
Sir.
And I figure we'd schedule it for 2 hours, and then once we reach that 2 hours, we're done.
So now, I mean, we'll have public commentary here on this in just a second, but I'm curious. I think everybody seems more than willing to give this a go and let us do a guinea pig trial run, if you will, or a test drive. It's just a matter of getting it scheduled and then properly advertising. Sorry. Thank you, Miss Arlene. What I just said was, it seems like everybody's in agreement. We're willing to give this a test drive, give it a try, and see how it works out. It's just a matter of, and we're going to have public commentary on this here in just a second, but just a matter of scheduling it and then getting the word out so that our citizens, if they are interested in coming and participating, they can do this and they can be in the guinea pig or the trial run, whatever you want to call it, with us of a town hall. And then we'll figure out, based on how many citizens come in, what our feedback is. Do we want to start doing this once a month, once every other month, once a quarter, whatever that is? I don't think any of us know yet, but till we jump in and start swimming and see how it goes.
So I'll propose once a month. I'll just pick a Saturday. And like I said, I'm flexible, but I'll say the second Saturday of the month from 9 to 11.
All right.
And how long will we try this out before we decide whether it's a go or no?
Do you think 2 months?
I say we try it once and see how it goes. And if it goes good, we try it again. If it goes poorly and it's just us and 2 other people sitting here looking at us, maybe we reevaluate.
I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take for it to catch on, but we'll see.
We'll advertise and give it a shot. I appreciate you recommending it. We'll open up the floor to public commentary. Mr. Hines, come on up.
George Hines, 1603 Rhode Island Avenue. The idea is good, but if you have a meeting here on Tuesday, 2nd and 4th, you need to have the meeting on Saturday, on the 3rd Saturday, just so people can have time. If your issue come up on the 2nd or the 4th meeting, then if you have a weekend meeting on a Saturday, the 3rd Saturday, then they can talk about issues in between the meetings. That's just my suggestion.
That's a good idea, sir. You kind of went at that kind of arbitrarily or randomly, but it's a good point. Hey there, Miss Jerry, come on up.
Good evening, Commission.
Good evening.
Y'all already know I'm totally 100% opposed to this. Saturdays, what do people do? They go to the farmer's market, they mow their lawn, so on and so forth, right? Monday through Friday, most people work Monday through Friday. I don't think this is a good look for the city of Lynn Haven at all. It just because Panama City is doing it, that don't mean we should have to do it. I think public commentary is needed in this setting alone. And I just, like I said, I totally oppose to it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Bashir.
So I'm going to echo Mr. Hines and say I think that the 3rd Saturday would work better because it puts you right between 2 commission meetings. It might be a good idea when you advertise this to actually ask people to submit some questions to you via email ahead of it. So you might have some information as you come into it, what might be brought up in that. I would also say that 1 meeting is probably not going to be enough. Somebody will say, oh, they're having a town hall? I didn't know. You're not going to get that information out there to everybody the first time. It may take 2 or 3 times to do that. Those would be my suggestions overall. I think it's probably a great idea because we need to talk about certain agenda items during the meetings. We still can do that. It's not public commentary. And that should work really well on that aspect. So I see no issues with going to this type of a format. I think it will streamline your meetings a lot. I really do. And, I think if people have something important, they'll come out on their Saturday. They will make time on their Saturday to come to the meeting. If it's not that important that they can't take off 2 hours on one Saturday morning a month, it's evidently not that important anyway, to begin with. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mayor?
Did you have a
I
question?
did, but that's okay. Let Jody go.
Okay. I just have to say, I'm not against having the town halls, if you want to add that, but I think you're making a big mistake to eliminate public commentary. I think you should be as transparent and as open as possible. I think you should have more access and not less. To a point that was made earlier, this isn't Panama City. I've made this point before. One reason I think Panama City might work a little better, and I don't like what they're doing either. I think they should always have public commentary at their meetings as well. When I talk about that, I mean open public commentary for people to come and speak about any topic. I just think that that's always what you need to have if you want open access and you want to be, the public officials and this public servants that you're supposed to be. One reason that Panama City, I think, works well is because they have the farmers market downtown. There's already people there. They're milling around, and they're already there at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then they come in. Lynn Haven's a totally different city. So you can try this and see how it goes. And listen, if everybody loves the idea and they okay, yeah, let's have a town hall and let's not have open public commentary, then I think that you should go with that. But personally, I'd be against it. But to the point that somebody else said, if it's important enough, I really don't want to be here on a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock or whatever. And I think there's probably other people who don't want to do that either. But if it's important enough, I'll be here and I'll let myself, be heard. I have a question, and then maybe this is for the attorney. Is this something that the commission votes on, or is this something that the chairman of the committee or the commission can set for himself? Whether there's public commentary or not, open public commentary. It's an agenda item.
You want me to answer that, Mayor?
Yeah, please.
So your question is can the mayor?
Is this something that the mayor sets, or is this something that the commission votes on? He's the chairman. Okay, go ahead.
So we have an ordinance, or excuse me, a resolution with a meeting policy right now.
Mm-hmm.
If the commission wants to try this on a trial basis, can everybody hear me? If the commission wants to do this on a trial basis, I think a vote of the commission would be required to make that change. And then we can come back and revisit the resolution at some point in the future, depending on how it goes.
Okay, my question is this the mayor's decision or the commission's decision? Does the entire commission have to decide, or is there something the mayor can decide on his own?
In light of the resolution that we have, I think that my opinion would require a full vote of the commission.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. Again, just to finish up, like I said, I would oppose only having the town hall. I would, but we can see how it goes. I think you should always have public commentary because you know what, and I do agree with what someone else said, to have it on the third, the time in between, because if you have a meeting, and I do like that it'll be more interactive, but I would also point out you can have an interactive discussion here, just like you could at the town hall. You could change the fact that if I ask you a question or you a question, you could answer, because we used to do that. But again, the town hall, if you have that and that's a third meeting, I think that's a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jody. Just to clarify for you and Ms. Parker, as we do these trial guinea pig town halls, this is not taking away from anything with public commentary. This is literally that. Ultimately, it may get there if we get into these town halls and they work well, we may reevaluate. But this is an additive opportunity. This is not a subtracting opportunity for citizens to come talk as we go through the wickets and try to test this out.
Well, I think you are subtracting. Let's say there's somebody who works on a Saturday, for whatever the reason, or they work late on Friday night. Look, I used to work nights. I was a nurse, and, I wasn't going to schlep up here after working all night long. Again, I think if you have more opportunities for people to speak, that's a good thing. But if you only have one time that somebody can come up here and talk about any topic at all, I just think you're making a mistake. And we're just starting off with this new commission. I personally think you're making a mistake on that. But again, if everybody loves it, like apparently they do in Panama City, then, go with that.
Fair. Well, like my takeaway.
It's a democracy.
Yeah, my takeaway point here is at this point, this would be 3 opportunities to speak versus
Currently.
2. Yes.
Yes.
And that's how I would look at it. I would not look at these trial guinea pigs runs, if you will, as taking away anything, but enhancing citizens' opportunities to come speak to their commission.
And I would agree with you, but if you take away public commentary at the meetings, ooh,
Yeah, you're double.
my
double
hook
rejected.
came out. Okay, thanks.
Yep, we're good. Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes. Go ahead. No, go ahead, ma'am.
A couple of things. I love the idea of submitting questions. I love that idea because that'll give us a feel for what's coming, number one, and what the interest could be that coming Saturday or whatever. I love that. The other thing is everything that, let's just say we go crazy and we get all kinds of people here on town hall and we get it all typed up. How are we going to, number one, bring that to the people that come to the commission? How are we going to intertwine what we learn and what concerns the citizens have? Are we going to then talk about it in this meeting? I mean, how do we get that information out to the public?
Well, it would be recorded,
Mm-hmm.
so they could see it online, and the minutes would be the transcript from the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
There was another question in there. I can't remember.
Well, I
so there's
think-
not going to be agenda or anything like that. Is that what you were getting at?
Well, no, I'm wondering how the commission will give this information out that we've learned in.
You mean to advertise that there's a town hall?
Well, no, not advertise. Let's say we get into a huge discussion about the water main on 9th and Tennessee. We get into that big conversation. And does that mean, is it not our job to keep all that information transparent as well?
Yeah, it'll be all online. It'll be
Online, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else you could do, but
Ms. Tender, I think I hear you asking one question and he's answering another part. You're asking, let's say we have a huge discussion, lots of people concerned about waterworks or public works or whatever. How do we bring that back to our normal meetings?
Right.
I see this as basically being a discussion incubator. So when people have things on their mind that we may not be tracking, we get it from the town halls. We add them as an agenda item for our next meeting. And to Mr. Hines's point, Mr. Bashir's, if you do it the third week and we have the second and fourth, we know after the third, we can add whatever those things are for discussion in our fourth weekly meeting.
I know Jamie's been very faithful about having meetings on Saturdays or whenever. And like he said, now he's down to a few people that show up. But he used to come to commission meetings and bring their concerns to us. So my question is, it's a good way to learn what they're thinking, but we have to somehow transpose it here.
And it will be up to us, make no mistake about it. It'll be up to us to bring those items back and ask the city manager and CJ to add those to the agenda. And then we articulate them amongst ourselves here.
Thank you.
Also have your commissioner report that you can talk about it too.
All right. Any other discussion? Mr. Langford.
Yeah, I'm all for trying something new, but I'm a huge test guy, right? I like to figure out metrics and those types of things. And I understand that there's kind of some apprehension to do away with public commentary during the commission meetings while this test is going on to kind of see how it goes. But I also feel like that's going to skew your results as well. So, for example, if we still have public commentary during every commission meeting like we're doing now, and then we try to have a town hall on a Saturday, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of participation. Why? Because we have two opportunities right now to come participate. So I'm not saying do away with it. I'm just saying that if you're truly looking to say, hey, is this successful or is this a failure? I think that it's going to kind of skew your data because you're not realistically looking at how it would be to determine whether it's successful or not. So just keep that in mind as you all think through how you're going to do that. I kind of like the town hall idea. I'm not saying that it's perfect for Lynn Haven, but it sounds like everybody, or it sounds like a lot of people want to try it. There's been some good mention already about when that needs to occur. But I look at this as kind of a glass half full kind of guy, right? I know Mr. Peebles and Mr. Warwick's been pretty good about having time with the commissioner and how that works. So really what I see is this is kind of standardizing time with the commissioners, but now everyone is here. It's a time with the commissioners with everyone present. So again, it's just some way I'm trying to think about it, to be open-minded and to try something new. But I like the fact that there would be some interaction. I've been over at some workshops with the city manager when they were over at the garden center, or the garden club, sorry. And you're right, depending on what the item was during the workshop, man, that place was packed. We wanted to talk about where we could park RVs in Lynn Haven. There were plenty of people there to share what they thought, and that was a good thing. So again, whether we're determining success or failure, I think it's going to be difficult because, number one, the rules and parameters that you set in place during that test period, as well as the topics being discussed at the time. So just something to think about going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So what I got out of that was we need to put a hot topic on the agenda every time before we have a town hall so everyone can come out.
I do agree with Mr. Langford, though. If we're going to test it, we need to test it as if it's the true parameters that we're testing.
Good evening, Miss Arlene.
Hello, Arlene Harrison. Thank you, everybody. One question I'd had was, where were you planning on holding the town hall? I'm all for a town hall if you think that might work. I agree with a lot of the commentaries that have been made that may work, may not, but I really feel strongly that we need to still keep public commentary in our regular commission meetings, that this is when I feel like the real business of our city takes place. And that's when I'd like to see it. As far as I need an attorney at the meeting, I'm not sure that we do for a town hall. If something arises in the town hall, then it would be brought forth in the following business meeting, I would imagine. And an attorney would be available. Let's see, I had something else. Let's see. Oh, and also, it would be streamed like these meetings are, right?
Yes, ma'am. It'd be right here.
It would be here.
We'd likely not be on the dais. We would likely
It'd be sitting down here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And yeah, that was another question I had. And any Saturday that you guys come up with would be fine with me, but I can understand a lot of families that are not work 9 to 5. Come Saturday morning, they got kids, they've got to do groceries, they got to do chores, they got to get the house back in order. But good luck with that.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening.
Christy McElroy, Port St. Joe, and Tallahassee. As I recall, y'all wanted the meetings switched to 5:30, especially you, Commissioner Warwick. And that was to get more participation. You also wanted pre-meetings that went away because they were not well received because the public couldn't speak. The question I have for you is, when you have your one-on-ones with the commissioner, how many people show up?
It depends. I've had ones where I've had 0, and I think the most I've had is maybe a dozen people.
Okay. So you can see with one commissioner, when you have all of their attention, they may not be anyone there. I want to give you an example of what I saw tonight and what I wanted to talk about at public comment. I almost saw a little boy hit today when I was pulling in to park here because there were so many cars and he was on a bicycle. And these SUVs, they can't see him. And so signs need to go up, crosswalks need to go up across this road, not just across this way, because you have children crossing over this way. So I was going to bring that up because it's a safety issue. Now, should I wait until the third Saturday of every month to bring that up? I don't think that's a good utilization of your time to wait a month before I can bring that up. Because right now, what I saw is an acute situation and a sense of urgency that this city needs to address for the safety of your children that play in that park. So, have you all here? You can vote on it. You can make recommendations to all your staff, including your police chief, and y'all can start addressing that. Because that child came this far from being mowed over an hour ago, and he was scared. And I saw the whole thing. Just to let you know, you have things to do.
Anyone else for public commentary? Come on up, sir. Good evening.
Just a question of clarity on the public commentary. Are we speaking general public commentary, commentary after motions, or both? And if it's after motions, would the commission think about the flexibility of hot topics having public commentary after those particular motions?
I can answer that. It's state requirement that you have to have public commentary on agenda items, so that will never go away. So if it's on the agenda and we make a vote or a motion, we're required to allow public commentary on that item. So if this was to pass, and based on what Commissioner Warwick is saying, what would happen is every single item that's on the agenda, everyone would still be able to talk about. So let's use the 5 applications received for a planning board, for example. There will be public commentary on that. No matter what happens tonight deciding this, there would have been public commentary on that if this was a future item.
Okay, so if you have an agenda item, there's a vote, a motion and a vote. There wouldn't be public commentary until that town hall.
No, you would be able to talk before we make our official vote.
Okay, that's all I need. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other public commentary on this tonight? We do appreciate all the inputs and discussion, some really good ideas generated, and very much appreciate that. All right, so we're bringing this back. Are you looking to have a vote tonight for the first one?
Yeah. What's that? Oh, just can't hear him.
So, sorry if y'all didn't hear. And if you folks in the back, Jerry, if I may, I'm going to give you some homework here, ma'am. When you can't hear me talking, please raise your hand so I know I got to speak into the microphone more. Thank you, ma'am. So that said, thank you all for the inputs tonight. Some good discussion. Mr. Hines, Mr. Bashir, y'all especially with the third Saturday of the month. I actually think that's kind of a sweet spot calendar-wise. And that's just good input, or good put, as we would say in the Air Force. So are you looking to make a motion and get this started tonight?
Yeah, so I think what they're trying to set it up as is having it the Saturday prior to the fourth Tuesday meeting. Does that make sense? Because if you have it every third Saturday, it doesn't necessarily line up with the fourth Tuesday, depending on how the days line up. It probably will in the vast majority of cases. So, and I think we got to have a vote on this in order to do this, right? So I'll amend I never got a second, so I'll make a motion obviously we're not going to change public commentary currently, but we'll have a town hall once a month the Saturday prior to the fourth Tuesday meeting from 9 to 11, where residents get to speak at least 3 minutes, and then we can interact and have discussions ourselves. And once everybody goes through, and if there's more time left available, they can come up and speak again if they want.
And this is starting in March?
I would say yes, sir.
Okay.
If you see any issues with that? Ms.
No, sir.
Whitewood?
That gives us plenty of time to advertise it. We can also push it out on social media as well, since it's the first one to kind of get people's attention.
Okay.
Are you going to put a date to where the trial ends? Or, because we've had in the past where we said we're going to try something out and then we just keep doing it and never talk about it again.
You want to try 6 months?
Maybe a lot. How about we try 3?
All right, 3 months.
That's a full quarter.
Okay.
If that's your motion, I'll second it.
I'll second.
Second.
You can't second.
So Pat Perno has seconded on my behalf. Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner.
Second.
You're a good wingman if I hadn't
Yes,
told
sir.
you lately.
Mr. Mayor, I have just a comment or two just to
Yes, sir.
clarify.
Go ahead, sir.
So there will not be any change to the current non-agenda public commentary section. That'll still remain on the commission
Correct.
meeting agenda. And then the city attorney, do you want the city attorney present or as an ad hoc basis?
I would say as an ad hoc basis, and it would just be us, the commissioners, the city manager, and IT.
And a sergeant at arms, probably.
Okay, got it.
Good.
And can I just say one more thing?
Yes, ma'am.
The fact that Rob is asking about having an attorney present, and if we go with Mr. Bashir's idea of having people write in questions, we might want to consider it depending on how hot the topic it might be.
If people submit questions prior to the meeting, we would be able to disperse those out to the commission and to the attorney to get input to see if the attorney needed to be there prior to the meeting.
And fair point. And it could be any subject matter expert. So let's say there's a health issue or a safety issue or whatever, and we know it's going to be a hot topic. We might want to just go ahead and proactively invite the proper subject matter expert to come attend with us. That way, I think we'll get more bang for the buck, per se, in terms of participation and discussion. Because unless one of the 5 of us are a subject matter expert or a former police officer or fire or whatever the issue may be, it might be really good to have the right person there to add value to that discussion. So last clarification, Commissioner Warwick, for these meetings, how far in advance would you like questions submitted? A week out so that our staff can get the right experts if needed?
I would recommend the close of business the Wednesday prior to that Saturday.
Okay.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. We've had public commentary. We've had a revised motion and second.
Oh, I think since you had a motion, you got to have public, got to have commentary again, right? But they didn't have a motion before.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
It's been discussion in public commentary.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to repeat the motion and make sure I got it. We have it correct, if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
So I have that there's a motion on the table to have town hall meetings on the Saturday before the fourth Tuesday of the month to coincide before that meeting, with 3-minute maximum commentary, interaction from the commission, and then an opportunity to re-speak if needed with the public. 3-month trial, city attorney invited on an ad hoc basis, and the public to submit questions close of business the Wednesday before the Saturday meeting.
From 9 to 11.
9 to 11 in this room.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's what I have as the motion. If you all agree, then.
I'm good with that. You good with that, Commissioner Perno?
All right. So we have a motion and a second. We've had public discussion, some good public discussion. City Manager, if there are no other questions or issues or comments, I'll ask you to call the roll.
Commissioner Ward?
Yes.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Mayor Lowry?
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you for that. All right. Moving along to number 9. Thank you all for that discussion, folks. Tabled items. We have number 9, discussion and possible approval of voting for one new member of the 5 applications received for the planning board. So for those of you that were not here at our last meeting, we actually had 6 applicants for 2 positions. One had already been previously promised. We basically had a tie. The last time there were 2 really well qualified for one seat. The commission basically picked one of them and told the second person, we really like you. We want you to be engaged. The very next seat that comes open, we're appointing you to it. So there was a promissory note there. I was not on the commission at the time, but all 5 of us agreed that we needed to honor that promissory note and not do that again moving forward. So we appointed one of the applicants, Mr. Clubs, to one of the 2 planning commission seats. This is for the other 5 applicants for the other seat. 4 of the other 5 applicants had submitted old school applications. One member had submitted the new way online, and it had gone to the city manager, and it was in his inbox, but it was in a spam folder. And it was literally the first guinea pig, so he didn't know to even look for it. So when we had everyone advertised for the last meeting and said, hey, we're going to pick from these candidates, he said, hey, what about me? I sent my stuff in. Here's my documentation. So they went back, they found it. They said, our bad. So we tabled the appointment of the other seat until tonight. And so we're going to hopefully get someone appointed out of those other 5 applicants for the second seat tonight. Yes, ma'am.
So basically, it's just what you said, the 6 applicants that went to the spam. So when that occurred, this item was tabled. And also, you're probably aware that Mr. Snyder withdrew his application on February 10th for consideration. So that's why it reduced from 6 to 5 candidates.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you. All right. So discussion tonight, folks.
So I had the privilege of sitting down and talking with all of them. I'm actually really excited about this because since I've been on the commission, I think you've been on the commission. Well, you've been on the commission longer. I have, and same with you, Commissioner Perno. Normally, when we get applicants, normally it's like 1, maybe 2 people, and so to have 5 people, I was like, that is awesome. And
5 great people, actually. I talked to all of them, and they're all amazing in their own ways, you know.
So they're, people are just wanting to get involved, and they're very motivated. And one of the questions I asked is, what made you decide to submit your application? And what I got from most of them was they like the direction that the city is going in, and they want to be part of some of the solutions that are coming up. And I just kind of wanted to get your guys' feeling on what your vibe was when you talked with them. You got that same thing, because I just had a lot of great conversations.
I kind of agree with you. It started, I went right down the list and kind of tried to stay in order with them. And the first, when I talked, Miss Margaret, her heart, she grew up here. She lived on Indiana Street, and I live on Indiana Street, and now she lives on 4th Street. And her kids walked to the same school she walked to, and she wants Lynn Haven to be the place she grew up in, but she knows the growth is coming. She wants to help, see it done the right way and keep the culture of Lynn Haven where it was when she was young, but also, help with this enhanced growth that's about to happen to us all. All the way down the list, everybody had that feeling that, they cared about our city enough to want to serve and want to be a part of the change, and and they know that there's aggressive change we're embarking on, and how to manage it, and just to keep us as quaint as we can be at the same time. So I just can't tell you. It's kind of like the damn art contest. It's so hard to do, when you meet good people and you feel for all of them, and you can only pick one of them, because every one of them had great qualities when I spoke to them, and I feel better having those little conversations and talking to each one of them to know that they care enough about our city to want to serve. So I'm I'm all for whoever we pick out of the 5. So, but you know, we need to all agree on a name. So let's get going. So
Yes, sir. Miss Judy, did you want to jump in?
Yes, I also agree. I think I've talked to Margaret and Chad, and they both are. I think some of these candidates want to be on this board for maybe a particular reason, but I also think we have some that want to be on the board with the hopes of moving up into the commission at a later date, you know, kind of learning the ropes and everything. So I don't think we can go wrong.
Nope.
But when if I don't know how you're going to vote. I mean, are we just going name by name? You want a suggestion? How do you want to do it?
Well, I will defer to my 4 colleagues here. If you want to basically share your top name candidate, all 5 were awesome. I agree. I was really impressed. I sadly, we only have 1 seat to go around. So I certainly hope we can have those other 4. You know, as other positions come up, I'd really like to be able to engage with them and go, hey, would you consider this? You know, so, but would y'all mind, let's just go ahead and share publicly our top contender, our top 2, whichever one you have, preferably your top 1, and let's see where we're at. So
My top is MK Barnhart, or Margaret.
Okay.
I just, like Mr. Perno said, actually all the commissioners, that I'm just absolutely pumped that we have so many applications. I think this is my 3rd year on the board, and I've never seen more than 2. So, and, you know, they come from all different backgrounds and walks of life, which is great. So we need all the different minds looking at the planning commission. And so I'm just pumped. I hope that if they don't get chosen tonight, that they continue to apply, and because I want you to be on a board at some point. And if maybe planning board, you don't get on the planning board, please apply for another opening for another board. I'm just so thankful for everyone that put their name in the hat. The reason I'm leaning Barnhart is just because, you know, I'm pretty big on social media, and she has a very strong social media presence in terms of being engaged on what's going on in the city, and talks to other people about it. And so I know for a fact, beyond just what she wrote down on her application, that she is engaged, you know. And I think that's not to say that the others are not. It's just what I've personally seen.
And I will say too, Margaret also said, if there's another board, you know, she just wants to be involved.
yeah,
So,
yeah. John said that as well. So did, I mean, Chad. I mean, they're all their biggest point was service to the city.
mm-hmm.
You know.
So
I like Margaret and Chad. You know, but I spoke to Margaret first. You know, and when I spoke to Chad, I said, "Hey, it's kind of a tie. I like Margaret. I like you, so I'm going with whoever." You know, and he just said Margaret. So.
Well, and not to complicate this any further, but
I love John. I had a great conversation with John, you know, but it was kind of like my last conversation, and I was like, damn, I wish I talked to him first, you know what I mean? But it's just I've never seen 5 good. Well, I mean, we could fill the whole board. I wish, you know, if there was 5 vacancies, we'd have 5 great people in there, you know.
So, Pat, this is kind of funny, but it goes because we're all of the same mindset here. So he liked Margaret, you like Margaret and Chad. I'm a big Chad fan. I was really impressed with him. Lifelong, born and raised guy, local businessman.
Yep.
Very much 2 young kids in school, very much wanted to be engaged and support. So that's kind of where I'm at. Miss Judy?
I even though I love Margaret and we've had good conversations, I'm a huge Chad fan. And I've known Chad for probably 20 years, 30 years. And he's forward thinking and he's intelligent, not to say that anybody else isn't, but he's forward thinking and he's intelligent and he thinks things out. And he does own a business. His family has owned that for years. And so he looks at those things too, the growth the growth of the city. Yeah, I think we talked for over 2 hours, Chad and I did. But he would be my first choice.
Commissioner Ward.
I'm the same with Commissioner Perno, Margaret, and Chad. Chad is definitely knowledgeable. He's had experience in building with the permit process and things with his business, so he has knowledge. Margaret, I feel, is very creative, and so when I look at it, I don't look at it just from one person. I look at the planning board as a whole. You know, what do they need more of? Do they need more of the experience and knowledge, or they need more of the creativity, outside type thinking? So, yeah.
What was your conclusion there?
I think right now, I think Chad Evans would be my top pick.
It sounds like there's almost a consensus, but anyone else want to throw out any more discussion on that? We're kind of coalescing. We've got two strong. We all like all five. We kind of have two top contenders, and we're kind of coalescing around Chad Evans.
I'm actually good with either one. It's just yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
That's a tough.
it really
one.
is tough. I like, I know Chad specifically mentioned that, he sees in the planning board that we need to reform the ULDC, that we need to, and I mentioned to him that we need to look at zoning, to help with development in the right fashion, and he wants to tackle that. He wants to tackle that right away. So, and he had that wherewithal already. So that kind of got me. But I'm telling you, I just enjoyed the first conversation I had with Margaret too. So I'm good with either one of them really. But I see a Chad, and he's been mentioned all the way around. So if we throw whatever we throw out, I'm supportive of either one of those two.
Well, Commissioner Tender, can I get a motion from you?
Absolutely. I'll make a motion that we select Chad Evans, keeping Margaret first in line for the next opening on any board.
We're not supposed to do that anymore.
And by that, you mean making a point to invite her to apply, not a promissory
Yes,
note.
no promissory notes,
Right.
no.
Okay.
Absolutely. But Chad Evans would be my first choice. He's got a lot of common sense. And like Pat says, with the zoning and everything else, he's up on it.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Shoot, I'll second it.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for leaving me hanging there. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the audience, commentary-wise, before we move forward with this appointment? Hearing none. City Manager.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes. All right. Congratulations, Mr. Chad Evans. All right. Moving on to new business. We deleted number 10, which was still needs some work done on that. It's a sidewalk project, paperwork wise. So we're moving down to number 11, discussion and possible approval of resolution 2026-02-520, approving awarding the ditch digging bid for as needed services.
A resolution of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, approving an agreement with Chapel Branch and Lanyap relating to the provision of ditch digging services to the city. Mayor, it was time to rebid our ditch digging contract. We received a total of 10 bids. Upon review, the lowest bidder's bid was thrown out due to the lack of supporting documents as required in the bid. The next person was Chapel Branch and Lanyap. Their bid is $2.50 per foot for ditch digging services.
So they were the second lowest. The lowest bidder had paperwork problems with their package.
And their bids were rejected, yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, how much of a delta was there between the lowest bidder and the second lowest bidder?
About $1 a foot.
And can we ask who that was?
E&L Utility Services of Northwest Florida.
Okay. Any issues, causes, concerns other than just approving of the resolution, basically approving of the second lowest bidder out of 10?
No, sir.
Any discussion among the commission?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that that I like that it specifically says the not to exceed amount. That's important. We need to continue to do that. The not to exceed, especially on these as needed basis. So I just wanted to point that out, that I really like that, and please continue to do that.
I thought the whole bid package was done well when you looked at the spreadsheet, in the columns, and I mean, you saw the disparity right away. I mean, what one company just had a dollar amount, that was it, and it really didn't fit when you looked at everything, the whole breakdown. So, but I asked Chris where the winning bid company was from, and they're from right up the road in Graceville, so they're not that far, straight up 77. So, and I'm pretty confident y'all did a good job in assessing all this. So it's kind of what you do, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
In
We
a
had
previous life.
good bit of bids on this one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to see 10 companies turning in bids for stuff,
I make a motion, we accept.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. So we will open this up for public commentary. Ms. Parker, come on up. I'm fighting the urge to say come on down, and I have like Price is Right music running in my head. You Gen Xers will appreciate that.
So this is in reference to ditch digging, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Chris,
I know
you
where
already
you're going. I
you
got
already
you.
know what I was going to say.
I got you.
Do not dig out my ditch again. It's been done 4 times. Do not do that, please. Thank you.
So I hear you saying you don't have ditches anymore. You have canals. Any other public commentary? All right. Hearing none, can we have a vote count?
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Mayor Lowry?
Yes. All right. Thank y'all for that. Moving on to item number 12, discussion and possible approval of resolution 2026-02-521, approving the appropriation of additional funds for Yates Plumbing and Utility Services.
A resolution of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, approving an agreement with Yates Plumbing for services relating to operation of the city's wastewater treatment plant. Mayor, as you recall, back in October, we approved a resolution for about $52,000 for staffing at the wastewater treatment plant. We have exhausted those funds. We still need to continue to staff the wastewater treatment plant. We have advertised the operator positions since. We have had one licensed application, or one qualified applicant with a license since October. However, he did not pass a background check per city requirements. So we are still having a hard time filling this position, and we will continue to have to reach out to a contractor to fill the wastewater treatment plant for the time being.
Understood. Before I open this up for the rest of the commission, having kind of an HR background, and thank you for giving me a tour 2 weeks ago, other than getting my hands ate up with that gnarly fiberglass that's 30 years old going up the stairwells there that we're now replacing with much more secure metal awnings and railings. I really do think we still need to look at growing our own capability. For right now, we absolutely need I don't want to call them scabs, but the substitutes, the augmentees, the reservists, if you will, coming in to help us keep our operations going. I would really like for us to take another hard look at trying to get a couple of sharp young men and women from this local area that want to stay and work here, that we can kind of bring in an apprentice type role, give them the training, and with a commitment that they have to stay X number of years or months for said training.
So we've had 7 trainees in the past 30 months. It's not very enticing to have wastewater operator trainees. We mailed out 3,000 postcards to all licensed operators in the state of Florida. We got 2 phone calls back. It is very hard to fill with the current state of the wastewater treatment plant. There's 6 wastewater treatment plants in Bay County, and I would say ours ranks 6 as far as the condition that what the operators do. A lot of the plants are modernized today, and they, fully automatic. They're not out having to do what they do at our plant. So it will be hard to fill this position until our plant is either expanded or go to the county.
Fair. And I get we need to do this for operations today. In this plant, it was built, in the early mid-90s?
1996 to 1998 was when it was expanded.
Okay. So, yeah, it's pushing 30 years old here. But I have no problem with keeping the reservists going here to keep the lights on, per se, and keep these functions going. I mean, we all like flushing our toilets, right? And having wastewater actually process and work. I just want to encourage and find out what you need from us. I think we could get a couple of folks in the training pipeline. I'd like to relook at the whole long-term apprentice, growing our own. You find somebody with roots that want to be here. That's probably the easier way to do that, get them the training and get the commitment out of them to stay in staff. But in the short term, I know this is a legit need, and it's not a want, it's a need. Otherwise, we have to shut the plant down if we don't have the staffing we need. So that would be a bad thing.
I make a motion, we accept.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from the commission?
I think I just have to say this because I can't keep my mouth shut. I think in the postcards going out for this, it should probably, the headline on the postcard should say, "Are you tired of all the crap?" I've just been sitting here going, oh my gosh, I could come up with something really, really funny that maybe gets somebody's attention.
You and our wonder kid working on the Facebook, who does our city Facebook. I mean, he's amazing. He has all those kind of funny, great things. You two should do a duet or something. Any other discussion? Okay. Any opening up the floor for public discussion? Mr. Langford, come on up.
I think it was 52,000 is what you said was the last amount that was passed. And looking at the agenda packet, it looks like $110,000 to carry out through the remainder of the fiscal year, which I guess would be 162 is total is what we're spending. So we're looking at basically we would be paying an employee $162,000 to fill this. If you think about it that way, hold on a second. So my question is it even possible? I understand that one applicant failed the background check. Is there any sort of waiverable process? And I don't even know what come up on the background check. I'm just saying if we think about it just through a money aspect, if we did hire an individual, a city employee to fill that position, what would that individual make in a year salary wise?
But currently, the position is about $24 to $28 an hour, just right offhand. Trainees and lower license are a little less than that. The $162,000 though is not for just one shift. That's for multiple shifts that the contractor fills throughout the week. So it's not just one employee that would be taking the place of that.
I still would now, I understand we're in a bind here. We're in a short-term bind where we're basically, to use a military equivalent, Mr. Langford and I are both retired military guys. We've got reservists we're paying basically MPA days on, right, to cover this. But I want a foot stomp, and I want us to, Chris, this may be a discussion item that we have offline, but I really want us to try to re-engage on the whole trainee program and grow one or two. If we can find them, let's grow them. Let's actively recruit and grow. I know nobody wants to be a wastewater treatment plant guy when they grow up, or gal, but, there may be an opportunity here. And let's, even if y'all have done it before and not gotten real good results, let's shake the bushes again and see if we can give somebody, a bright and shiny young man or woman, an opportunity to excel here.
So my question would be, and this not necessarily just in this instance, but any instance when a city employee is hired or goes through the application process and a background check is failed, is there any way to accept what caused that failure and continue to hire that individual? Let's say they had a fender bender 15 years ago that popped up on something. That was all. Thank you.
We have several employees that have a felony conviction on their record. We have several employees that have been incarcerated before, so that is not a deal breaker for us. We have definitely laxed that, but there are some things that we cannot lax.
So this, what I'm hearing you say without breaking any confidentiality or privacy stuff, is this was a hard stop issue.
This was a hard stop. Yes, sir.
There. Okay. All right.
If I may, just for the sake of clarity, and this is not filling the, this contract is not filling the position like for one person. This is more multiple hours. Like this is more than one person can work in a week. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And I know. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, and we do we have some of our own staff working in that position right now?
We have one full-time city employee and we have one part-time city employee, and the rest is fulfilled by Yates contract or Yates Plumbing.
I know when I sat down with Mr. Lightfoot about it, we kind of ran like rough numbers as far as, because obviously when you make $28 an hour for a city, you also get the benefits with it, which is also increased cost, right? And so when we looked at that, it's really not much different than what we're paying now. So, because it's easy to say, oh, let's just give them X amount of dollars an hour, but by the time you add it up, you're kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, to me, oh, sorry.
No, sir.
I guess to put it in a military base type thing, there's this running thing that like if you're a federal contractor, you make more money than like a civilian employee, but the civilian employee makes their money up by getting better retirement, better health care, that kind of thing. So in this scenario, this would be hiring a contractor, whereas a city employee would be the equivalent of like a federal employee where they get to potentially have health care, retirement, things like that. And all that money the city does have to pay for. So their $24 an hour is much higher than actually $24 an hour.
The term in the HR world is total benefits package normally. And it's exactly what y'all are saying. Insurances, medical benefits, retirement, 401k contributions, whatever. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Mr. Bashir.
I don't think at this point you really have a choice other than to pass this to staff the sewer plant. But my question is, since we're having such a difficult time finding an individual to hire as a city, as a staff, have you looked at actually contracting out a full year to a company to do that?
Yes, sir. So we did reach out to multiple other companies. This is by far the cheapest. The one company that would give us a year contract was about $26,000 to $34,000 a month for the same service.
That's for them to provide all the staffing for the sewer treatment plant.
Yes, sir. And the city would still be responsible for the lab testing, the sludge hauling, the utility bill.
Okay.
That's just for the staffing.
Okay. So, in the past, I think Chris covered some of the shifts over there. If y'all are really going to consider him for city manager, he needs to find somebody to replace that.
And if I'm not mistaken, this company is out of Crestview, correct?
The Mr. Yates that owns the company is out of Defuniak Springs, but employees live all over the Panhandle.
Okay.
They take care of multiple wastewater treatment plants.
Okay, copy. All right. So any other discussion from the audience at large? All right. Mr. Bashir's point is well taken, though. This will carry us through the rest of the year, correct?
Yes, sir. And there will be a budget amendment presented at the mid-year budget in March.
And this is a special ask from me. Let's take a hard look at actively trying to recruit and grow at least one or two, or heck, let's shoot for the moon and shoot for 3 recruits. And let's see what we can do to start growing our own long term. It's not going to come overnight, and we're probably going to have to do this for a couple of years. But let's plan our way out of this and try to be a little less reactive. So with that, I had a motion and a second. We've had public commentary. If you'll call the roll, please, Mr. Lightfoot.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Mayor Lowry?
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for that. All right, we're down to 13 now. Discussion and possible approval of Resolution 2026-02-522, approving a 3-year extension of the city's commercial garbage contract with Waste Pro.
A resolution of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, approving a 3-year extension of the city's agreement with Waste Pro for commercial garbage pickup services. So it's coming up on the 3-year mark for Waste Pro's contract. It is time they have submitted their resignation, or I'm sorry, their extension request earlier than required per contract. It is over $35,000 a year, so it is required for the commission to approve the extension. Staff does recommend approving the 3-year extension. They've been great to work with and will continue to do so.
Awesome. Any comments or questions from the commission?
That was my question, is how, because I know 3 years ago we switched companies, and so we've been so staff has been happy with Waste Pro.
Yes, sir. Unlike any transition, we did have our challenges when it first started. They did a great job with the transition from the prior company to Waste Pros. We had some, communication issues when we first started. That was, 28, 30 months ago. Ever since we got all of those kinks worked out, they have been great to work with. Their reps come by, check on staff, and make sure everything is good to go.
Thank you.
And so everyone understands that the price stays the same. The increases is your cost of living. So whatever that cost of living is for that year, that's how much it goes by. So.
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
They take
ma'am.
it.
When you say, is this the commercial?
Yes, ma'am.
These are the people that pick up my trash at the restaurant?
If you have a dumpster, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have to say this just to be out there and make sure that everybody understands. This company's out of Alabama, correct?
Waste Pro is all over the country.
Okay.
The group that we use is out on Back Beach Road.
Oh, I was calling the wrong place.
Ma'am,
Thank you.
You got the green trash cans, right?
I have the big dumpster.
Oh, you got the dumpster?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have to honestly say, about 2 months ago, I called them. Yeah, I know it was them because I got the number off the thing. I called them and asked them if they would switch out my can because we dump 500 pounds of chicken, raw bones and crap like that in the dumpster a week. And they said, well, we suggest you pour some bleach in it. They would not bring me another can.
So our customers are not supposed to go directly to Waste Pro. They go to us. We take care of getting the can swapped out.
Awesome. There you go. Write that note. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Any other discussion? No?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public commentary on this?
McRoy. I'm just curious why you're not going out for bid. I mean, BCC had your contract before, right? We know that. And so I understand you may be satisfied with service, but garbage is a very competitive business. To go back and ask BCC if they would be interested and get some competitive bids, just like you did when BCC had the contract, and then you went out for bid. So, I've seen this in other municipalities, and a lot of times you don't just pass on the same contract. You may want to go out and revisit, give them an extension and say, you want to see what else is out there.
That would save tax dollar if we did that.
We did, the last vendor, BCC, we did exhaust all of the contract renewals with them as well. This is the first and only contract renewal in this contract. And when we go out for an RFP for garbage, it is a huge transition if you change vendors. So it is in the city's best interest, in staff's opinion, to use this contract extension for the one time that we're able to for 3 years.
And this extension was in the original contract, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's not a new contract. My opinion is the old saying, a bird in the hand is better than two in the tree. Yeah, because we know what we're getting. We know what the price is. We're in the middle of a budget year. It just makes sense to me.
Not only that, if you put it out for bid, you may end up paying more.
Correct.
Put it out for bid. There's no guarantee you're going to be able to keep.
There is no guarantee it will be cheaper.
And
No,
it's
sir.
probably, and I'm willing to bet with everything that's been going on in the economy, I'm willing to bet that it's probably going to be more expensive if we put it out for bid.
And let's not forget that this company's been doing a great job. The city manager's already said, hey, their staff's pleased with them. I've had nothing but great experiences with them. I've gotten good feedback on them, especially a couple of the new younger employees that really go out of their way to help our senior citizens. I've gotten kudos and shout outs for them. They're doing a great job. So, this may be one of those opportunities. At the Pentagon, we called it Semper Gumby. No good deed goes unpunished. Well, this is one that we can actually recognize and thank them for a job well done. So I'm totally good with it. Is there any other public commentary before we move on? Hearing none. City Commission or City Manager, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry.
Yes. Thank y'all for that. All right. 14, discussion of city attorney, dual RFP for new contract or in-house counsel advertisement. So I've been on the job a month now, and it readily became apparent to me that now would be a good time to look at different legal support services moving forward. I thank Amy and Myers and Kevin Obos for their service. I sure appreciate Rob Jackson filling in and supporting us tonight. But I really do think we need a new legal direction. I would really like to have more of and being a retired military guy, I would like a little bit more of a JAG officer. And what I mean by that is instead of looking at primarily what is the most risky move, what is the most transparent, fair, obvious, legal, straightforward way of doing things. And sometimes you have to get aggressive and go, nope, this is the right thing to do. This is and you have to transparently defend it. But I really do believe I'm looking for more of a JAG officer support. I was a 3-time squadron commander, and the JAG was very much a piece of my leadership team. They keep you, as Jimmy Buffett would say, in between the navigational beacons, legally speaking. Here are your options. Here are your courses. This is what the law says. Now the choice is up to you. And I felt like this would really be an important way for us to go. Let's look at what options are out there. And I would like to look at this in 2 ways. Currently, we have a contract. We kind of have an on-demand contract. I would like to put that out for a new contract, but I would also like to put out for an in-house counsel, a full-time attorney. What I'm looking at is not just municipality, which is a specialization, but also a variety of very similar specializations. And a case in point, again, retired Air Force guy, so I'm going to talk like an Air Force guy. When you have a base commander, mission support group commander of an Air Force base, they can be a civil engineer background. They can have a communications IT background. They can have a personnelist background. They can be a security forces cop background. Any of those functions can run a successful base commander role. And if they're a cop, they're obviously going to have different skill sets than a civil engineer. But that doesn't preclude them from working those kinds of functions. Thank you, Miss Arlene. I'm sorry I didn't see you, Jerry. So what I'm looking at here is let's look at resource protection. Let's look at contract attorneys. Let's look at HR attorneys. So as well as municipality lawyers. Let's look at all of the garden variety of direct support for a city. Let's look at that here. Let's look at what skill sets are out there, who's interested in supporting us moving forward as a city as we start this new organizational chapter, and let's go from there. So what I'm proposing tonight, if the rest of the commission will support, is we'll have a draft up of these 2 new requests for proposals for us to look at our next meeting. And if we are good with them, they will put them out for solicitation, and we will see what we get back. In the meantime, I've spoken with Kevin Obos. He and his team will continue to support us until such time as their services are no longer needed. And he has assured me they will do a proper transition to help whoever we select come on board and get spun up. So that is what I have to propose to the rest of the commission. What say ye?
So the current company that we have, are you saying they're not going to RFQ?
That is correct.
So your way forward is you're saying you're requesting that we put out two proposals, one for in-house. You want to direct staff to put out a proposal to hire in-house and one to bring in contracted as needed?
Yes, sir. I want to throw out two nets and let's see what we get. We can go with a full-time staff attorney. I see a lot of inherent value in that if we get a well-qualified full-time staff attorney. If we don't, well, we can also look at continuing with a new contract. Now, even if we do hire a new full-time person, people get sick, people need vacation, things like that, right? So we would still need a reservist or at least a backup augmentee. So I could see us potentially hiring a full-time attorney and then hiring a contract law firm as a supporting reserve capacity, if you will, right? And maybe let's just say whoever we hire, let's just say they're a great HR attorney. Well, then you might want to have that municipality specialization in the background as well to be able to augment based on whatever the needs are that come before the city and our city attorney.
Okay, I just wanted to put some expectation management out there. The average attorney in Northwest Florida makes about $150,000 a year. So if we were to hire an in-house attorney, we're looking at the highest paid employee on staff, and that does not include their benefits package. And most of the time, if attorney is going to come and we're paying them less than the average, then they're just going to leave soon anyways. So I just wanted to throw some expectation management. The difference between, like, I agree with what you're saying with the JAG and how important it is. Big fan of the JAG office. But the difference here is that when you are a JAG officer, and let's say you come in as what rank do you come in as a
First lieutenant.
First lieutenant. So all first lieutenants make the same amount of money. Whereas if we're looking at hiring a city attorney, we can negotiate prices, which means other firms can negotiate prices, which means that they will likely make more money. So that's just the bit there that's going to be different. That would just some expectation management there.
And Commissioner Peebles, that's a fair input. I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, city manager, but we spent what, $210,000, give or take?
Ms. Roman did an average of the past 3 years. It was a $201,000 average for legal.
For the last 3 years, 201 on average for the last three. And what was the highest of those three?
You just did the average of the three.
I want to say the highest was 210. And that would make sense, 201 being the average of the last 3 years. So we're in the same ballpark.
Was that all legal? Or is that all legal or just one company?
That was the
Total.
Arundel. Yes.
Total legal expense, which didn't include the
That didn't
the
include
current
our
city
HR attorney.
It did not include the
That
HR
did not
attorney?
include the HR attorney. No, sir.
Okay.
This was for Amy Myers primarily, and Kevin Obos is back up.
I believe that I asked that question of Kiki a while back, what we had spent total for the year, HR attorney and all of that, and it was a little over $330,000 last year.
That was including the HR attorney, which is a different firm than.
Right. But I'm just saying, like you're saying, we would have to have different types of attorneys. Not one attorney's going to know everything.
This is basically a sunk cost of doing business. Bottom line. We can't operate as a city without well-qualified attorneys. Can't really operate without well-qualified police officers. You know, there are certain key core functions, wastewater treatment people, whether we contract or whether we staff ourselves. There are core functions with credentials and qualifications we just have to do business. And this, unfortunately, lawyers are one of the most expensive, but they're also one of the most essential if you get a good one.
Mayor, I may have said the average was 201 over the last 3 years. That was the last 5 years. I'm sorry if I may have said three.
You did. And I thought that's what Kiki had said, but thanks for the clarification. So I do believe the highest was last year, and I believe it was 210,000. The average over the last 3 or 5 years, you said, was 201. So we're not talking a large variation there.
Yeah, that's good data. Thank you.
Going to want to have a paralegal and an assistant. So you're not talking about one position, but most likely three. And there is the requirement with an entity of this size, the variety of issues that come before a city, that it would be hard. It's just not that we'd have one attorney that could span all the various topics. That's why now at our size, a firm still is a good fit, because they will have attorneys that specialize in land use, in labor issues, in sunshine public information. And we can tap into that, and they can get us different attorneys to answer our questions.
That's a very fair input, Jennifer. I'm wanting to cast both nets, and let's see what kind of fish we catch in the nets in terms of qualified applicants. And then we'll come back and we'll have a very, well-meaning and well-intentioned discussion about what that looks like based on the applicants and the qualifications we have. I do anticipate us getting a lot of interest from outside of Bay County, Walton County, Okaloosa County, Washington County, Leon County even. So I think having some different experiences from different areas within the Panhandle might not be a bad thing. It adds to that breadth of subject matter expertise, to your point. So let's see what we get. If the rest of the commission will support me on this, and I'll have a more formal RFP for us to approve next meeting.
Mayor, so we have the last one was an RFP. It needs to be an RFQ for the legal team. So we will dust off the old RFP, convert it to an RFQ. We will get that sent out to the commission prior. But you all will have to approve the RFQ package and a job description to post if that's what the commission desires.
Now, RFQ does it include? We'll know an annual price, or we'll know.
RFQ does not include pricing.
No, it's qualification. It doesn't include a price. So we won't be comparing dollars to dollars, will we?
No, sir.
I anticipate the salary, if on the, of course for the contract, that's obviously going to be different, but on the individual side, I'm going to anticipate this being, to Commissioner Peebles' point, I anticipate this being a $150,000 to $180,000 salary range based on years of experience, qualifications, certifications, all those things. But that's kind of the window of what I fully anticipate.
150 to 180 for the lawyer.
Yes, sir.
What about the paralegal? What about the other stuff?
I haven't signed up for that, and I don't know. I get Jennifer's point. They're going to want a support staff, but you can have a good attorney without necessarily all of that up front. And it may be that we build with an attorney first, and then we grow from there. Again, it all depends on what we get. If we get a qualified attorney and we can hire them for 150-ish, the funds, there would be, based on what we're spending now, there would be funds there to fund a paralegal, right? So we got to look. We just got to see what applies, what do we catch in the application net per se, and then what does that give us to work with?
So I just want to make sure I understand this. It says dual RFP, and I know it's supposed to be RFQ, but the RFQ is only for a new contract, right? And then for the in-house counsel, that's just an advertisement we put out as a job advertisement.
Yes, sir. There is no dual RFQ to run. It's an RFQ for legal services and then a job description that will be posted.
Right. So I'll be honest, I don't have a problem looking at both. It's always great to see all our options. I do think the in-house counsel thing, I think it's a pipe dream, and I think we're going to realize it's going to be a lot more expensive, but let's take a look at it. And then this is kind of, I think, pretty much the last one that I proposed when I brought this up. I don't remember when it was, 4 or 5 months ago. So
You actually gave me the idea, and I can't take credit for this. I was sitting there right where Jody Moore is sitting tonight when you proposed this, and I thought, you know what, that's a pretty good idea. So I do take notes. I do talk a little funny, but I can take good notes. So but that's what I'm proposing to the rest of the commission here. Any other questions, discussions, concerns?
my thoughts are almost exactly what Commissioner Ward just said. I think it's kind of a pipe dream, but I'm willing to look at anything. At this point, we need to have the services, so let's look at the options.
Appreciate that. Commissioner Perno?
I'm okay with whatever your consensus is, but I am not a fan of spending more money than we already spend now.
Yes.
And that's I know there's nuances and different feelings to factor into this, but when it comes down to it, I feel like my responsibility to the city of Lynn Haven is to make sure Lynn Haven doesn't spend as much money as it needs to, when it can overspend on something when we're not spending that much right now. Why do we have to go out and spend more?
Yes, sir.
Well, if we're spending more to get more, okay, but that's where I'm gonna lay my cards.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate that. I just say if we're spending $210,000, let's say, and I believe that was the number. Kiki's not here tonight, but I believe the number we spent on legal services for our primary contract was $210. So if we're going to continue with that, and I don't know, plus 3% over the next year, or even hold the same number, 210. If we are spending the same amount, how can we get the best bang for our buck, and what's in the best interest of the city? That's what I want to look at.
What will it cost us to advertise this?
It doesn't cost us anything. And my thought here was I'd go to Evergreen, who's already doing a study, and have them pull some stats from other cities that they've done work for. $150,000 is going to have an effective salary of over $200,000. So just so you know that, and that's when I say effective, that's all the benefits and the pension and those types of things that we pay.
But it won't cost us to actually advertise and explore.
I mean, we already have an application where we could do that. I have to advertise it as a possible or pending position, because you all would have to grant the positions. It's posted as a possible opening or a possible pending opportunity.
When you just said you already have an application for this job?
No, we have a software application.
Oh, okay, great.
Any other discussion among the commission? If not, do I have a motion?
I think it's just staff direction to bring you all an RFQ and a job description for the next meeting for you all to vote on.
Okay. Well, I think we're in violent agreement here. Let's look at what we got, what we can get, and we will go from there as a team. All right.
Mayor, was there a motion? And you
said
just going to bring it back to the commission? Okay.
So no motion needed. All right. Before we go to public commentary, we had an ad here, number 16, current status of the city manager hire. And what I will do first off, and Commissioner Perno, you asked for this, so sir, I'll defer to you, but would you like for Jennifer to give a quick update since she's kind of spearheading at this point and give a formal update?
Yes, you all have been very informative and helpful in trying to set up the virtual interviews. The time just ran out. We were attempting to do it tomorrow, but in order to get all of your schedules clear, it was too difficult. Therefore, I'd like to recommend Monday, March 16th, which is in just 1 day shy of 3 weeks, having that the next target for setting up the virtual interviews. I can come back with another grid and a time period using the same process, unless you all want to discuss changes to that process. That process, again, is to set up 4 specific rooms where we would have the virtual links. You all would go from room to room. Am I back on? Yes, thank you. But I think that would give us enough time. If the 16th is good for all of you and you can clear your calendars, then I will contact the candidates and let them know their time and get them available. If there's a problem with the 16th, we can discuss it now, or tomorrow you can let me know so we can get the next date ready to go.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I would highly, highly like to recommend that we do this the way it was done last time, where we have the candidates, we only have 4. They come into this room or any other room. The others wait outside while we ask all the questions right here in front of them and in front of the public to become totally transparent, get our answers, and we vote at the end. We don't have to go from room to room or do any virtual anything. We ask the questions, we see how they answer, and at the end it's over. And what Jamie said last time was true. We did have one person who the wife used her phone to call the husband who was waiting out back, but that's curable. All we do is take the 4 candidates' phones and set them right here. Tell them they can have them back when we're done. And each candidate just comes up one at a time. We ask and we're done instead of spending the entire day. And it also becomes totally transparent at that point.
And this process was to get you to those top candidates.
Right.
Because they're not all local.
Right. You have 2 local, right, or 3?
3 local and 1 out of state.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, you're bringing in someone out of state that maybe you might not at some point. So this was to take the 4 down to a top 2 potentially.
Right. And originally there were 5. One had just a retired full bird Coast Guard captain had just accepted another position and took himself out of the running. So of the top 5, we're down to 4 of those left.
Correct. And you all, it was discussed if you wanted to have public in those meetings, they couldn't engage in the interview process, but they could be, we would make the space for that.
Observers.
It would be, it would definitely be transparent. There's a lot in body language. There's a lot in, a lot of things when you're watching somebody right in front of you versus having it be virtual. And I like that idea instead of just dilly-dallying and spending all day.
Just a point of order. I don't mean to interrupt, but it'd be nice if when people here are speaking, if we could see them up on the screen, because it's easier to understand what they're saying if we can see them.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, Miss Arlene. Thank you for that. IT, did you hear that? Okay. We're going to try to support that, Miss Arlene. Okay, so just to clarify, this is the first phase. We've got 4 candidates. 3 are local. 1 is in North Carolina. And our attempt is to whittle down to the top 2 for a formal interview, public, all of us, open general to the public at large, and go from there. 3 of them are local, so that's not a problem. The 4th one, being from North Carolina, if they're not in the top 2, there's no reason for the city to pay for their airfare down to interview. So that was the big crux. Plus, we all get our individual flavoring. I will actually have 3 members of the public supporting me, being flies on the wall, that is. And they can come out and share their opinions of what they heard and saw when they're done. But they can validate, yep, Mayor Lowry asked the exact same questions to all 4, and number 1 and 2 hit it out of the park, 3 did okay, and 4 just crashed and burned, or whatever the case may be, right? That's the intent of observers, to let them come out and say, it was open kimono, it was a fair process, they were consistent. So little transparency never hurt us in that regard. So, and if any of you commissioners want to do that, you want to invite members of the public to come, you can. I actually had volunteers after our last meeting. So I took them up on their offer. Commissioner Perno, you had asked for this update. So is there anything more you want to discuss there, sir?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to ask the commission, we've gone 8 months or more now with the gentleman as our city manager, interim city manager, doing the job as city manager. And in the meetings I've attended with him since he's been the interim city manager, he's been articulate in answering questions to everyone on every issue coming up here. He's been prepared. I see in him someone who can lead our city as the city manager into the future. We have a new police chief, Chief Blanchard, who's about to hit the ground running here. Mayor Lowry, you're in just your third meeting. I just see someone who lives amongst us who's doing a great job. I don't want to discredit any of the other candidates who are thinking about it, but I've said this before. I feel like we have the guy in front of us. If you guys could see it possibly that we can give him a short-term contract and assess him going forward. That's my feelings. I'd love to discuss it, and because I'm the only one who's come on and said it this way, and I think there's support or there's feelings that I'd like to get out right now, so we can move on this, because he is the tops ranked of all the candidates, and he's on the list of most of us or all of us, so I mean, we could dispense of a lot of the things that we're embarking on with somebody coming down from North Carolina or someone else, if we can just move forward right now. So I'd like to know how y'all feel about that.
We'll just go down the line among the four commissioners. Commissioner Peebles, if you want to say anything, sir.
So, my thought on this is we've already lost one candidate because we're taking forever. Another candidate just got fired.
Mm-hmm.
This is not to say Mr. Lightfoot would do this, but it's not like he's just auditioning for just us. There's other municipalities seeing what he's doing, and if they like him and offer him more money, there's a possibility that he could leave. We got to make a decision ASAP is my main point. We got to stop pushing things down the road. I know that we've said that on other issues, it's cliche. Whatever we do though, my main point is that we need to make a decision as soon as possible. And if that means we do not need to go past the 16th. If we are going to do the 16th, that's when we make the decision. But I mean, even if we want to make the decision before that, we make the decision before that. We do not need to go past the 16th. I do not want to lose any more qualified candidates. We spent a lot of time on this. So, and we've all seen the rankings of how we rated everybody. I think it was Commissioner Perno's number one was Mr. Lightfoot. Mr. Lightfoot was my number one. Number one for Mayor Lowry, and Commissioner Warwick just got fired from his job. I don't know why he got fired yet. That hasn't come out yet. So
Actually has, and we can discuss it.
But anyways, that's just my thoughts, just throwing them out there. We got to make a decision soon.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to go down to you two, and I'll be the caboose. But Commissioner Warwick.
Yeah, I agree with the process. It's taken a long time, and because I think it's taken a long time, we're losing people. But I'm going to bring up something that it's probably not going to be fun to talk about in the commission, but the thing I don't understand, and I probably should have brought this up at the last commission meeting when we had the top five, is we all, and I know this was before your time when you became mayor, but you watched the process. We all sat down with HR and gave what is it that we want in our next city manager. And we gave them the requirements, the criteria, all those things. Gave them all that. And then we agreed that we'd have a Tiger team. And that Tiger team spent hours looking at all those applications and determine, based on the criteria that we established as the commission, who qualified and who didn't qualify. Now, if there are disagreements as far as whether someone that's not qualified that should be, to me, that should have been brought up on the dais. And if you really felt strongly about that, give that person a fighting chance of, for that position. I honestly, I went through all the applications myself also. And there was a couple questions I asked HR, and I got my answers, and I was like, okay, I understand. So I don't understand why we picked people that were not qualified. And I still feel that way. And so to me, once you take them, the ones that are not qualified out of the running, that leaves down to 2 people. And I struggle with that. And so that's where I think we are. Whenever and so since we want to talk about this, I talk with the department heads. Hey, how's it going? How do you think the city's going? And I can tell you, since Mr. Lightfoot's been in office, the morale has increased quite substantially. And I get inputs of, I feel empowered to do my job. I don't feel like I'm micromanaged. I'm given leeway to do my job. And so they feel like the direction the city is going the right direction, and that they have a high level of confidence in Mr. Lightfoot. And that's the feedback I'm getting. And so the way I feel about this is, the day that we hired Mr. Lightfoot as interim city manager is the day that his interview started. And I think that's where you're at, Commissioner Perno. So, and I did talk with the mayor from Spring Lake, North Carolina. I only got one side of the what happened with that. I don't know. I called the others. I couldn't get a hold of them. And I tried. And so I don't know what the other side of the story is, which puts doubt in my mind. And whenever you hire an outside person, it is a risk, right? And so we're kind of facing where we got good continuity, stability going on versus looking at a person that is on the outside. And you know this, whenever you hire somebody, the resume may look really good, they may interview really good, but then once they get into position, it may not come out the way that you think it does. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Commissioner Tender.
I say we do the interviews the way we were supposed to from the get-go. Make it public, make it transparent, and be done with it.
So I will, this is my 3rd meeting. The 20th is a 1 month on this. Thank you. So I've been on the job a whole month now, and I appreciate the 4 votes that I had and the confidence you had in me. I'm honored and privileged to serve with y'all. I'm proud to be here. And I want to do my best to help Lynn Haven as an organization. Also had I had a very different professional background from the last mayor, and not throwing any shade at him. He was a minister and I was a political science, public administration, org leadership kind of academia professor and retired Air Force guy. So we very, very much came from different perspectives. So, but when I was sitting out there in where Jody Moore's sitting tonight, which was kind of my normal seat, you guys advertised for a city manager with a master's degree. Y'all literally said that y'all were looking for that level of experience. Mr. Lightfoot, who I like very much, has an associate's degree. He doesn't even come close to meeting the requirements of what y'all sent out for. So I agree he's done a hell of a job. I think Jennifer Hodges would have done a hell of a job too, that y'all moved her and put Chris in place. Both have done a great job. We've advertised. I was not part of that process, but I'm in it now with y'all. And I want to ride this out and be fair and consistent. We called out, we applied, we've culled down from 98 to now 4. We have those 4. I can dive into the qualifications. It's actually 1, if you're talking about me, with Mr. Zach Detweiler, where it was literally, is it federal experience or is it local municipal experience when you're a FEMA person on the ground in a disaster zone, working hand in hand with local city and state and county organizations to repair after a major disaster. HR and I saw that very, very different. But I was very confident in making my assessment. I have a PhD in human resources. I have over 20 years of federal HR experience. I can spell HR, and I know experience when I see it in a resume. But that was just a difference of opinion. But that being said, we have these 4 applicants. Now, for Commissioner Peebles' point about Commissioner Warwick and I's number 1, his name's John Rory. And he is the gentleman from North Carolina that should be interviewing with us on the 16th. He's been a city manager 3 times. He does have the master's degree y'all said y'all were looking for, a master's in public administration. He's been a successful city manager 3 times. And our last city meeting, and I'm not trying to speak for him, I'm just advocating, here's the other. I really see it. These 4 candidates, here are 2. And 1 is the interim city manager with an associate's degree, 8 months, been doing a great job. The other one, 3-time city manager, just got booted out on a 3-2 vote. And go Google his name, John Rory. You'll see the local news coverage up there. They interviewed one of the 3 that booted him out. There are 3 new commissioners that stepped up. And they voted to fire him because he was pushing them to modernize their infrastructure. His mayor got up and said, this guy's phenomenal. You just hurt our city, kicking him out. And so one of the local reporters up there literally asked one of the 3 voting commissioners on a 3-2 vote, why did you fire him and what was your methodology in appointing the replacement? Her exact quote, you can hear it, it's actually recorded. We didn't really have any thoughts on that. We really didn't have any plans going forward on what we were doing here. We just kind of winged it. I'm paraphrasing that, but she literally said we winged it. We went in without a plan and just did this. So, and the mayor literally said in her interview, you're just giving another city an opportunity to hire a rock star. And this guy's got 30 years of city management experience. So I'm all about us interviewing the 4 we got. Chris knows everybody. He's immediately plug and play, and he's done a hell of a job. Do I believe he could do a very good job if we hire him on the spot on the 16th? Yes, I do. Do I feel like we have other very strong applicants, one in particular, Mr. Rory, that could absolutely plug and play? I don't know the 4th individual. I've just seen her resume. I'm looking to hear from her. I'm looking to hear from Mr. Detweiler as well. But we're down to 4. I agree, Commissioner Peebles, that we should really, if we can do this on the 16th, let's do this. My only question back to you, Jennifer, is based on this, if we re-wicker, so we originally we wickered it down to a top 5, and the intent was to get it down to a top 2 or 3 we could do in public interviews. Mood to get this done is rapidly rising, right? I think we're all in violent agreement there. How can we re-wicker this to do, instead of a 2-phase, go from 4 to 2, let's just go ahead and do a 1-shot. Let's take out the 2nd phase. Let's just do it all at once. If we're going to do this on the 16th, by golly, let's go ahead and figure out the best way to do this publicly. We'll interview all 4. Instead of trying to do the Zoom and all that, let's bring in the 1 candidate from North Carolina, the 3 locals. To Miss Commissioner Tender's point, let's just go ahead and do it all at once. And by the time we're done on the 16th, assuming we can agree on a selectee, we will have a new a new city manager selected.
Mayor for
Y'all
me.
good with that?
No, sir. May I speak? Mayor, you just talked for about 5 minutes. I started and we went around, and I didn't really get to say what I wanted to say about the man on the end over there who's done the job. He has an associate's degree. The man, I personally spoke to Jared. You put words in my mouth when you said that we wanted an MPA. I specifically told Jared, I don't care if this guy, our city manager, has an MPA. I want him to have the experience on the job. And that's what you need, experience on the job. And we came up with, or the equivalent of 15 years experience. That was what I said. And we made that a qualification equal to an MPA, okay? And I said that I am the proud possessor of an associate's degree only, okay? I didn't make it all the way through Florida State, but I attended Florida State. Spent a lot of time watching football games instead of going to school, but I ended up working in the hotel business after my dad passed away, and I had to put myself through school, and I'd had to go to school half-time, and then try to afford to go to school full-time, but I couldn't afford to go to school as much as I needed to, so I worked a lot, and my grades suffered, and then I ended up making more money in the field I was in than getting my degree. So anyway, long story on me, but you know, in my field, I have a lot of experience. I don't have a degree to show for it, though. In the field of what this man does, I'd rack and stack him with anybody with an MPA, and especially the way he treats people. You have an HR background. This guy has brought smiles to the faces of the people who didn't have them on their faces working here before. So I'm of a whole different mindset. And I don't want to leave here tonight without at least coming back around. And I'd like to make a motion that we give Chris Lightfoot a contract to city manager and remove the interim title, and let's work out a short-term contract with him and make him our city manager.
So can I say a couple of things? So first, the way I understood it was master's was what was preferred. And if they didn't have it, then they had to back it up with X amount of experience depending on what level of college that they had. To your point about a temporary contract, I'm totally against that. If whoever we decide to hire as city manager, give them a contract.
Let's make him a contract. I'll make a motion. Let's give the guy a contract that we determine and make him city manager.
I wanted to say one more thing. So it's probably because you weren't in the seat yet, but when we did the criteria, Gerard had us all have one-on-one interviews and said and gather what all we came together and what we wanted. It was on that sheet when it showed the qualifications that was sent to all of us. And it was, I believe, associate's degree with 15 years of experience, bachelor's degree with 8 years of experience, master's degree with 5 years of experience. So it wasn't just master's degree. That's just master's degree with 5 years is the same as an associate's with 15. They're equal.
Yeah.
And that's what we came, and we all got sent that as a commission, and we all decided that was fine.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me because I did not have that data point. I saw you guys were looking for a master's degree or a bachelor's or an associate's with X amount of experiences, but a master's was preferred as what I remember reading on the advertisement.
Mayor, point of order. There's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Yeah, we have a motion, but we are discussing. And I honestly...
Well, I'll just second it so that we can have a discussion legally. There we go.
Okay.
I will add, Chris has been my boss, but I'll point out he does have certifications, what we talked about earlier in both advanced wastewater and water. To get those licenses and certifications, he's holding an A in one and a C in one. Is that correct, Chris? So that A license is equivalent to over 4 years of study and work.
Yep.
The C license is equivalent to at least 1 year of work plus passing. They're all passing very stringent required tests. That's not necessarily seen, it doesn't come with the bachelor's or master's, but the amount of work and the amount of testing and education, I would say, has a lot of equivalent context, especially in a municipality.
And just for the record, I am not trying to down anyone for only having an associate's degree. I am the son and grandson of farmers, and I'm the first person in my family to graduate college. So that is not the issue at all. What I'm saying is there was a preferred master's degree level, and no disrespect intended whatsoever, Commissioner Perno there. That's what I saw as
It
the
was
advertisement.
Exactly, as Commissioner
So,
said.
and again, I'm not advocating. I like Mr. Lightfoot. I think he's done a hell of a job as interim city manager. Could someone else plug and play and do the job? Probably so. Are there other qualified applicants? Yes. So it's a balance, right? We're trying to be fair. I didn't start this process. I came in a month ago into this, and you guys were months into it. Just case in point, you will typically see city managers, they come from generally 3 tracks within a city management kind of organizational background. You typically will have cops or a chief of police. You'll have a chief of fire, sometimes a chief of emergency services and public works. And Chris has done a phenomenal job in the public works area. He was a 23-year-old department head at Panama City. He was the wonder kid, the Doogie Howser, if you will. So that is definitely one vein. One of the other applicants literally has the master's degree. In 15 years, he was a fire chief. And he's been a city manager 3 times over in 3 different states. And not just 1 or 2 years, 3 to 5 years apiece. So we have a wealth of experience. I'm glad Mr. Lightfoot's one of those contenders. But we also have other well-qualified contenders as well. So the conundrum is to try to get this done. Let's close this gap. Let's be transparent and fair about it. Let's have our interviews. And by golly, when we walk out of here on the 16th, we have a new city manager.
Let's walk out tonight.
We have
with
a motion and a second. If the commission doesn't have any more discussion, I'll open it up for the audience. General comments. Ms. Sandy.
I have nothing against Chris. In fact, I like him. But this is my thought about it. Let's don't just put somebody in there like they did with Kamala Harris when she ran. Let's let this be a process where it gets voted on, talked about. Like you say, there's all kind of people with a lot of degrees, a lot of experience. I don't have a degree of any kind, and I beat out people with master's degrees. So I'm like Pat, it doesn't matter to me if he has a master's degree, but let the people make the choice, not just push somebody in there, is my opinion.
Thank you, ma'am. Corey, I saw Corey first, then Bashir. Then Jody.
This is absolutely unbelievable. You guys made a commitment to follow a process to hire an individual. It's the 4th quarter now, and you guys are like, we're done. We're impatient. We want to leave this process that you all agreed on and do something completely different. I'm going to leave it at that, reference the process. But since we're here, let's go on and talk about everything now. All right? There's some questions that I've got that I planned on hearing responses to during the interview process. But based on your motion and your second, we're potentially about to not even get to that point based on what y'all vote on tonight. So now I'm going to state my question. What I'm about to say is probably going to be a little bit controversial, but I want to hear a response. because this is now the hiring process. If James Finch would not have sued the city of Lynn Haven, Chris Forehand would not have been deposed. If Chris Forehand wouldn't have been deposed, the allegations of bid rigging wouldn't have come up. When the allegations of bid rigging come up, two individuals, both of which are sitting in this room tonight, stated, allegedly, that it happened. This is all during the meetings, okay? Here's my question. Why did it take somebody being deposed under oath to come forward and say something? And I've already heard it, and I'm not buying it, that I was afraid to get fired. I need to hear from Mr. Life, and I like Mr. Life. He's a great dude, great guy. He and I disagree fundamentally on some stormwater stuff. But since we're now having a public hiring process right now, this is what I wanted to hear get explained, and now we're here. You've opened a can of worms. So now we're going to need to hear what went on. I need an answer of, had I had it to do all over again, this is what I would have done differently, and this is why. That's what I'm looking for. To not only calm my concerns, but I'm not the only one asking the question, okay? But the can of worms is opened now because you all wanted to completely alienate the process that you all agreed on to hire the city manager. But now we're going to throw it all out the water and just hire one night. Appreciate it.
So just for the record, I seconded it so that we could talk about it and not be a point of, like Miss Moore said. I just seconded it so we could talk about it. Just saying.
And if I may respond immediately to Mr. Corey's statements.
Yes, sir.
We've been looking for a city manager since July, and the man's taken over since then. And to me, yes, his interview started then, and since July, he's proved himself and over. And that's why at the point we're at right now, that's why I wanted to move forward and select him as our city manager. For what it's worth, if it was your first week on the job and something like that happened, I don't know. I mean, would you be the whistleblower? I mean, I'm sure you've got a high moral compass, and you would say yes. So, that's you. I'm not the person involved here, but you're slinging the heat. So, I'm just knowing what I know from what I've seen in the last 8 months. The man's doing the job. We need someone to do the job. He's willing to do the job. He's even said for a year at the salary he's making. He's also utilities and public works. I'm sure if we brought in a city manager, we'd be looking for public works and utilities after that as well. I'm sure he's viable enough to walk out and get a job, in the near future. So, knowing everything I know and what's in the pipeline for who we have to select, I've only had one person in mind, and he's right at the end of the table. So call me shallow, myopic, whatever you want to call me. That's my answer. So.
No, not name calling at all. I just want you to interview everyone, all of the qualified candidates.
I never agreed to do that. I only had one. I never picked 5. I only picked 1.
That's my point. They weren't all qualified.
All of the applicants.
Yep.
Whatever we want to say. There might be somebody out there who's just the most amazing city manager ever, but we're not going to hear from that individual if they exist. But to answer your question, would I have said something? Absolutely, because I've been in that position before.
I know you would have.
It's a tough position to be in, and it hurt. And it hurt a lot. But I did what was right, and I lay my head down on my pillow every night because I know I did exactly what was right.
Mr. Bashir, I saw your hand up. Are you deferring to your wife, General Bashir? Okay, and then Jerry Parker.
Michelle.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. You are. Jody. Oh, go ahead, ma'am. Jody and then Ms. Parker.
Michelle Bashir's 811 Louisiana Avenue. Before you were mayor, I sent a long letter to the commissioners. I got only one response. That was from Sam Peoples. But ask about transparency. And since FDLE has come out with their judgment on the bid rigging accusations, y'all have not made any comment about the outcome of that. And the outcome of it is that there was no bid rigging that they could find. And there's no criminal charges going to be pressed against the former city manager. So that makes me wonder the credibility of the three people who made those accusations. And, you know, I don't know how to speak to y'all. None of y'all like me, I know that. And I'm not getting any feedback. I've sent 2 letters and I've gotten no feedback. And to me, this is not transparency to not announce the outcome of the FDLE investigation. Thank you.
You don't get to ride. You got to wait in line. You gave her your turn.
I'll wait for
you gave her your turn. You got Jody and then Gap, and then you can do it. Come on up, Mr. Moore.
I was okay going after Johnny. It's cold in here. Amen to Corey for what he said. I mean, I totally agree. I think, you know, you have to do the right thing. I think ethics and, you know, your morality really matters. And I think that has to be looked at as well. You know, I just want to bring up something too. When it comes to the scoring, okay, well, first of all, you said there are 2 candidates. Okay, the 2 viable candidates in your view. So let's look at those 2 candidates, all right? But Pat only scored 1 person, and that was Chris. Pat, you know, I think you're doing a disservice to the citizens of the city when you only score 1 person. I think you need to look at everybody. I think, you know, look at all the qualifications. I didn't know anything about the gentleman that you just brought up, but he sounds like a very viable candidate here. And look, I appreciate that Chris came in a difficult situation when the city, you know, after, you know, Vicki got fired and all that stuff happened, you know, and I'm glad that he's calmed, you know, the people in the city, that the workers here feel better. But quite frankly, you know, look, my opinion, after Vicki Gaynor, Chris Lightfoot probably looks like King Arthur coming in here. Okay, anybody would look good. All right, so you can have someone else who would potentially do a great job. Chris does have a lot to speak for him, but I've got a lot of problems with the way this process has played out. Also, I finally got a chance to look at the scoring sheet. There are 2 of the candidates that are listed at the bottom, and there's notes made about them, not the other ones. And they were derogatory comments that were made at the bottom of the sheet. Why was that released? I don't like that. That shouldn't have happened. I feel like this is all being pushed in Chris's direction, and that's not the way this needs to go. This needs to go in a fair manner, and you have to look at the whole picture. And I'm sorry, Pat, I just think you're doing the wrong thing here when you only score 1 person. That, again, that did a disservice to the other candidates that you couldn't even give a 2, 3, 4, 5, and that was also not right for the rest of the commission. You know, if you have a candidate who is, qualified as a city manager, has been a city manager, and Chris has a lot of experience, I understand that, but he has not been a city manager for years and years. If you got someone who has a degree and also is willing to take less money, why wouldn't you consider that person? As far as the interview process, I'm with Judy. Why are we having these secret Zoom, interviews or in person? Why not have it all here in public or have a special meeting, have all the candidates come forward, and like you said, take the phones away so there's no sneaky, behind the scenes kind of stuff. And if somebody cannot come in person, you have these big screens in here. You can have a Zoom interview. And maybe that's not fair to them, but you know what? Don't pay for them to come. They can pay for themselves. If they really want the job, they can come down here, or they can do it by Zoom. Anyway, my opinion.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Parker.
All right, let's talk about the lawsuit with Chris Forehand and the bid rigging. Chris? Bobby? Did y'all not give a deposition? Was it truthful? Bobby, was it truthful? What you said? There you go. Bid rigging was correct. Y'all have got to start doing your due diligence. What's going on right now is not right. Not right at all. Let's get this stuff done. Mayor, I comply with your March 16th. Let's get that done. Let's go and get it done. This is getting ridiculous. This is getting out of hand. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Now, Mr. Bashir and Mr. Detweiler next.
Okay, a couple of things. First, the FDLE has declined to bring charges against Vicki Gaynor for bid rigging. So they did not find sufficient cause to bring charges for bid rigging. Call it what you want, but that's the official status. They've returned her property to the city, or the city's property to the city. There's no charges. Now that said, let's talk about the process. I do think y'all need to go through the process and interview these different people. I like Chris too. I drove a Ford for years. I loved it dearly. Then I drove a Toyota. I've never driven another Ford. You don't know what you're missing till you look at everything. And you've got to look at people and compare them and see who's going to be best for that. And that's what you need to do. I understand. Chris, y'all know Chris. You like Chris. He's doing a good job. But we don't know what we might turn down if we don't bring somebody else in and interview them. We really need to follow the process. I think you're going to lose a lot of ground with the citizens in the city if you don't follow the process also. I think that's an important thing to consider, that people expect it to be transparent and that they're going to see this, and this feels too backroom the way this is playing out right now. One of the criteria, I worked in the industry for years and years, and the criteria for managers, for people as they moved up, were how many direct reports they had, how many people they had reporting to them, and how that structure was done. You did HR stuff, and it's kind of built around that. So you have to consider what that looks like too with the people. And I know you have a list of qualifications that were put out, and you just got to compare people to it and make the choice of who fits better. It may be Chris, it may be somebody else. I like Chris, but you need to look at those and you need to follow the process. I will go along with Corey on that. The process is important, and you need that transparency for people to see that it's been followed. Lastly, the 16th really won't be a drop-off date. You may select somebody there, but correct me if I'm wrong, you're still going to have to negotiate salaries and that's the type of thing. So it's not going to be on the 17th, you're going to have a new city manager. You've got to go through that rest of that process after you make your selection. I would recommend getting that down to 2 people instead of 4 or 5. I don't see a real reason to consider that many, because it sounds to me like y'all have already picked the top 2. Get them in here and interview them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I like your metaphor about Ford and Toyota. That's what you call country boy logic. Corey can understand too. Come on up, Mr. Detweiler.
Good evening. Since this might be my only opportunity to interview, let me go ahead and discuss my actual resume. So I did not work for FEMA, nor did I ever contract for FEMA. I worked for a private contractor called Tetra Tech, the same company that was hired by this city, the county, Springfield, Parker, and Callaway for Hurricane Michael. We came in immediately after the storm. Not 10 days later, not 30 days later, not with cushy accommodations or anything else like that. We were here day 1. That is what I did for 15 years. I flew into the eyes of storms. I stood up projects, multi-million-dollar projects that had anywhere from 50 to 500 employees on them. We had hiring events where we would hire 80 people at a time, and I was in charge of training them. I was in charge of hiring them. I was in charge of managing them. I have managed over $100 million in projects myself. I have assisted with over $1 billion in projects myself. In Campfire, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's where Paradise, California burned down. It's right outside of Chico. It was the fire that basically took away most of your FEMA funding. It happened about a month after the hurricane. I was out there as the logistics manager for that storm. We outlaid $8 million in logistics a week, and I was in charge of it. To say that I don't work with municipalities or that I don't have that experience is not accurate. I've worked with over 40 cities and counties to manage their programs. I have managed everything from debris cleanup to grants management to project setup. I have written policy. I have appealed policy. I have appealed policy to the point in Louisiana that they rewrote the entire federal policy on private property debris removal because of my appeals. I beat them so badly that they took out every stipulation that I used against them so it couldn't be used against them again. I understand state policy. I understand federal policy. And what you need in a city manager right now is someone who isn't going to look at the 1 year. They're going to look at the 10 year, the 15 year, because you have such large amounts of capital outlay projects that you need to be performed right now. You have to have someone looking at 10 years ahead. Your assistant city manager is who needs to be looking at the day-to-day. And we can go into restructuring and how all that looks. But fundamentally, you need somebody who can look long-term. And so Mr. Rory probably has that experience. I have that experience. I'm not sure about Ms. Hall, but she may have that experience. But to not interview would be an injustice to this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to say something, Ms. Tender?
I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this. Y'all created a process. This is an insult to all the 80 people that put forth a resume to y'all to go through the resumes, rank the resumes, and make some decisions on who you want to bring back. Now, I live in Tallahassee and have a house in Port St. Joe, but due to your corruption and your crooked ex-attorney, Adam Albritton, that's why I started coming here, because he was our crook over in Port St. Joe. I was a national director for a biotech company. My accountability in the contract that I held was $1 billion from $10 billion worldwide Amgen revenues. So when I hired someone, I darn sure wanted to make sure I went through everything. And I made sure that the process wasn't fair, but was legal and right. And you need to ask your attorney right now, you try to make a decision tonight, what are you setting yourself up for? I'd be embarrassed right now. And I'm glad Zach showed up. I don't have a dog in the fight, but I'm sick and tired of seeing municipalities act like you're running a goat rodeo. We're not military, and you need to get grounded in what you're here for.
Anyone else? Public commentary. Oh, go ahead. You want to go ahead and speak, Judy, or wait? Okay. Come on up, Miss Sandy.
I had no idea that Zach had applied for city manager till he just spoke. He is one of the most hardworking, dignified, smart person I've ever met in my life, and I've met a lot of people. I've seen his dedication when he wants to get something done. Like he was head of the recall for the last mayor. He didn't just get people to go out and do it for him. He was there every single time. He loves this city. I can't believe that he was not allowed to interview.
He's in the top 4.
You are?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I didn't understand that. I thought he wasn't going to be interviewed.
No,
he's somebody you really need to listen to because he is a fantastic human being.
Thank you. Commissioner Tender.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I'd like to say no matter what anybody thinks, this gentleman here has bent over backwards for me with every request I have made since he stepped up. He comes to the cafe, brings me the agenda. He goes out of his way to help me be the commissioner that I want to be. And when I called you today. I got the answer instantly. I was able to call back the resident right away. So in that light, he has done everything, everything that's been asked of him, I believe. However, I have to say that I think we would look foolish to the community and everybody if we don't go through with these interviews. And Jennifer, you said yesterday, or I don't believe it was you, I believe it was Gerard, said that we couldn't go through with the interviews tomorrow because one commissioner couldn't make it?
No, we had a couple conflicts.
Of commissioners that couldn't make it. And so you just sent the email out at 4:30 on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I really feel that we need to be transparent about this. We need to do it on the 16th. Take the 4 phones, put them up here, have each person come and interview in front of all of us at one time. And to your concern, Mayor, you were talking about having residents be there to watch and listen and all of that. For me, I would, if I had to pick a resident to come and watch what was going on, I'd want them with the candidate. I would want them with the candidate so I know that that candidate told everybody the same thing. Whereas if we do it the way we did it before and have them come here in the public, one at a time, we'll see what they're doing. We'll see how they interact. You know, I mean, we don't need the public. They can be here and watch, but at the same time, we can do that ourselves. We can see how they interact. I think we would look foolish if we didn't go through with these interviews on the 16th.
Well, we have a motion and a second on the floor, but Commissioner Tender, I agree with you. I really feel we have to go through. We owe it. There were, I believe it was actually 98 applicants, not 80. And I spent an entire weekend reviewing every single one of them. We really need to go through the final 4. But I think, and of course, we need to go through and we need to have a vote here on this proposal, this motion that's been seconded. But if that does not pass, then my point going forward is a compromise. To Commissioner Peebles' point, instead of doing the 16th and then having a final second volley, I hear the frustration. I hear Commissioner Perno's, for gosh sakes, let's just get this done, right? Let's just go back to the 16th. Instead of the 1 and 2 tier, we have 4 final candidates. We're not going from 5 to 2 or 5 to 3. We've got our final 4.
And 3 of them are local.
3 of them are local. Let's get the 4th one in here. Let's have a no kidding public interview. Let's figure out the logistics of making that right and fair and transparent and legal. And let's go ahead and pitch that on the 16th. That'll give us 3 weeks roughly to get this done. Let's plan our work our plan, give those 4 folks a fair hearing. They all have great backgrounds and qualifications, or they wouldn't have gone from 98 to 4. Let's hear them out, and then we'll transparently make our pick. And whoever gets the majority votes, the 3 of the 5, or 4 of the 5, or 5 of the 5, will be the first selectee. We probably need to select that 2 up. And I think it was Johnny Bashir brought it up. You're not going to get somebody immediately that night. We have a primary and we have a secondary. So if the primary doesn't accept or the contract terms don't, we have a second in place. You have a lady in waiting per se. And let's just get this done on the 16th and at least have a clear final decision. That's my thoughts. Any other commission before we go to a roll vote?
Yeah. So just want to say again, we just had a whole discussion on the town hall and how we want people to be able to talk. Ms. Moore came up here and had a point of order. So I seconded it so we could talk. So I don't understand how we're the bad guy for doing that. Okay? Like, we just got blasted for giving people a chance to talk about it. I don't get it. All right. That being said, if we can agree, because it's not fair to Mr. Lightfoot and the other candidates to continue to wait, if we can agree that by, I don't know, we have one more meeting in between now and the 16th, right? Or at least another commission meeting. What's today's date?
We'll have the second.
If we can, I don't know, put it on the agenda that we drill down exactly how we're going to do it on the 16th, and we can promise to all the candidates, you will have an answer on the 16th. I'll withdraw my second. But if not, and it's going to draw on longer, I'm going to leave it, and we're going to make a decision tonight because I'm tired of freaking waiting. So that's where I'm at.
To that point, Jennifer, you're a career HR lady yourself. You got a lot of experience here. And I'm curious your thoughts on us transitioning from the 2-phase to just a 1-phase public. Final 4, let's interview and get this done. Any first blush thoughts for the commission?
It's your all's process, whatever you want. I mean, it can be done that way. This was trying to minimize the number of people that might be brought in. But it's whatever the commission desires, we can set up the process.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, but what recommendations do you have for us if we're going to do an all hands on deck approach on the 16th of March? What is your process recommendation there?
Well, because you're worried about sharing the questions, one option you can do is you each have a set of questions that you bring forward, and we publicize the questions. So it's not unknown what the questions are going to be. So basically, the candidate is going to respond to the questions that you have, made. These are going to be the questions that we ask. Maybe you don't ask all of them, but they're ready with what it is. Or you ask them to do a presentation on a particular topic, or how would they step into the job of city manager? What would be their first 180 days? What would be some of the top picks? They can do an actual presentation, and then you all could do follow-up questions. I've seen that done. Again, it's your process. What's important to you all is how you should organize and detail out that process.
Are you finished? My question too, my thoughts are, if you have predetermined questions, I think we would be opening a can of worms. I think that we all have different questions, and I don't see any issue with asking those of the same person, because Jamie may say, what makes you feel you're qualified? I may say, I can't even say it with a straight face. I just think there are different questions to be asked. And I think having it in the public, seeing how they answer to all of us is very, very important. And I think seeing their body language and everything else is so important. And to have, when you first talked about residents, this would cure the whole thing. This place could be full of people if they wanted to sit and watch the process, and I see nothing wrong with that. And I don't know. I just think we should do it. I think we should do it on the 16th. I think we should do it so we don't look silly, because this is way, way silly. I agree with Corey. We have gone overboard on this big time.
Okay. So I guess we have a motion we need to sort out here. Once we get this settled, I think we should really nail down, if we're going to go forward with the interview, we really need to give Jennifer some guidance tonight, because she's going to have to tell all 4 applicants, well, 2 of them are in the room, 2 of them are not, what they need to prepare for, whether it's a cold interview or if they got to do a presentation, whatever y'all prefer there. And so that I kind of see being the wrap up piece here tonight.
Well, since this was not on the agenda for us to talk about this when we walked in, so my suggestion is let's think about it and then have, because if we're doing the 16th, would the meeting, if you came prepared to give us options on the meeting before that, is that enough time?
Yes, however, I won't be here on the 10th.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we could do it like we have been doing it. The cumbersome issue is always working within the sunshine. In other words, I can send out to everybody, I have a whole bank of possible questions you might want to ask. But that's just generic possible questions. It doesn't mean you have to ask those questions. They may be prompters for you. You all could decide you each get 3 to 5 questions. Again, that's what the mayor is saying. You've got to kind of orchestrate the plan. It's easy to set up the logistics and to set up how to do it. But this is not my plan. This is your plan. But we can do it through emails. Just remember to respond only to me, and I'll try to do the best to make it a coalesce it together into some kind of process. If that's
With the sunshine, a general direction from the 5 of us tonight would be very helpful for Jennifer. If we're going to do the project presentation, let's at least agree on that and a topic, right? And then all 5 can give their project, my vision of Lynn Haven in the next 10 years or whatever that is, right?
Well, my point is that I haven't been given time to think about what process I want, because this was sprung on us tonight. So you expect me to make a knee-jerk reaction on how we want to do this?
That's fair.
We have a motion that we have to go through first before we decide that.
Well, but what I'm saying though is I can just rescind my second.
No, he's got to rescind his.
Okay.
In order for it to die.
Okay.
And so you can ask him, but I don't think he will, but.
Let's vote.
If there's no other discussion amongst the commission, Mr. Lightfoot, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Perno?
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles?
No.
Commissioner Warwick?
No.
Commissioner Tender?
No.
Mayor Lowry?
Oh.
So on to the other part. So now we can get into the other part of the discussion. So we keep bringing up the 16th, right? And this is for, when we bring up the 16th, are we talking in person or are we talking Zoom?
In person,
In person,
transparent.
yes, okay.
We'll fill the audience. We'll fill the audience.
Okay.
To the public. Let's do our interviews and let's get our next city manager hired.
Can we say the 16th or earlier? Because really it's going to come down to when John Rory can get here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, and of course,
I am fine with
but I'm
earlier.
going to say when she coordinates, we need to answer her email. We need to answer it quickly so that she can coordinate. And it means if he can get here next week, then we can do it next week. If he has to take 2 weeks, then we do it in 2 weeks. But yes, that's kind of where I'm at. You guys feel the same way?
Go ahead, Judy.
I say, get her done. Just get it done. Yes.
Right.
I don't know if we get to voice our opinion on the outline or however you want to do it. I don't care about listening to any presentation. I have questions ready, and I would like to keep them to myself until it's time to ask them.
I agree. We just have to make sure, I don't know if we have to make sure that we ask the same question from every candidate. Well, I don't know if that would be a requirement, but it would probably be a good idea.
I'm going to ask the same questions to every candidate. I'm just going to tell you that.
Well, there's one question I'd have to turn a little bit because of the way it's worded, but yes.
So from what I hear from everybody, if we can get a date before the 16th, which is 3 weeks from yesterday, y'all are good with that. We need to give all 4 applicants a fair notice, make sure that they can actually achieve that date. We need to make sure first that all 5 of us can do it. And we go forward from there. I'm totally good with having them come up here and sit right where Jennifer's sitting. Yep. And we'll go around and we'll ask our questions. We'll do our interview. It can be broadcast. We can have a room full of folks. We will need to figure out the security thing because if Zach Detweiler's first and Chris Lightfoot's last, you don't want an undue advantage there if somebody's broadcasting the questions. So maybe we keep them all in the back here watching SpongeBob cartoons or something. I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
Team Cartoon Network over here. So
Kidding about SpongeBob. But you guys get my point. We'll give them something to do, but take away the phones so there's no undue advantage and keep them entertained in the back till it's their time to interview. And that way everybody's fresh. Everybody gets some first.
have them draw a number out of a hat.
Okay.
There you go. Draw the order.
Yeah.
So when you guys
Let
did
'em
this
pick.
last time, do you remember how long it took per candidate to question them?
10 minutes.
That was it?
Yeah, it wasn't long. It wasn't long. Again, body language, body language, body language.
Okay.
And you saw whether they were nervous, you saw whether they were calm and confident, and we already had their resume, so we knew their basic background, and you could tell exactly what was going on.
So five.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, ma'am. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
And I was just going to say, the having the, I don't know, Mayor, how you still feel about having the taxpayer people, or the residents watching, but we'll see for ourselves. And I don't think we need that backup because they'll be here if they want to be here and watch.
We'll open it to the public. And
We'll just need to notice it, right? You have to notice it
Yeah.
by a certain amount of time.
I will say that each candidate, I'm sure, would take more than a collective 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
If you each take 10 minutes, we're at the hour times 4, so you're looking at a minimum of 4 physical hours with a break. So it's going to be a long day.
So you project an hour per candidate?
I would project at least 45 minutes per candidate, because that allows you questions and then some possible follow-ups. But there's 5 of you. That's going to be a lot of questions. So it will be a day.
And we've got to give them time to answer, and they probably need at least an ability to make an opening statement or a closing statement as well. So we're looking realistically at an hour.
Yes.
Yeah, Mayor, I've been through this process many times.
Yes, sir.
Many different public entities, and I would second what Jennifer said about time. I would think you would need at least 30 minutes with the candidates. If it turns out you don't need it, you can always cut the interviews off short and take, more break time. But I would schedule at least 30, 45 an hour, whatever you all think. But you're going to have at least one candidate coming from a different state, and you don't want to talk to him for 10 minutes. So.
Right.
Yes.
So will we be limited to how many questions we can ask? Like be 2 per commissioner, 3 per commissioner? I don't know. Because 2 that's 10 questions. 3 that's 15.
I think you'll find that many of the commissioners have similar questions.
Right.
And so if you come in with 4 or 5 yourself, a lot of the other commissioners may answer and you can follow up.
I already got 7 questions ready to go.
7, 10, whatever you think you need, and then prioritize what's important.
Okay.
Rob, were you present at the last?
I was here for Mr. Schubert. I was here for Mr. White.
Mr. White is the one, that I was talking about.
Mr. White, for both those, we had public interviews in the commission room. We also had time, just a short period of time, one-on-one just before that meeting, about 10, 15 minutes with each commissioner for any questions that they did want to ask in public, basically, to get a good feel for it. But there is no right way to do this. It's a very commission-driven process. And so it's what you all are the most comfortable with. But the last 2 that I was involved with, we did here in the commission room.
I just hope that when you contact these last 4, that they believe we're really going to do it. I hope we haven't lost anybody else.
So I know this has been painful. Sunshine Law doesn't allow us to meet and discuss outside of these published meetings. It's cumbersome. And you guys and ladies are watching sausage making being made here. I'm sorry it's been a long meeting tonight. And commissioners, I apologize to y'all as well. You guys know this better than I do. But I appreciate the due diligence. I think the end product here is a good one. Instead of a 2-phase, we're going with a 1-phase. The 16th is the latest we're going to get this done. If we can get it done reasonably faster, maybe a week earlier, maybe we're 2 weeks out instead of 3 weeks out. Great. Let's do it. Let's do it all at once. Let's plan to have it right here. Good old sunshine. It can be recorded, and let's get this done. Let's just ask our questions. No presentations in. I hear that loud and clear. Let's just have our questions ready, and we'll go through. I would say at least each commissioner have 3 questions, and you may find that Pat and I or Jamie and I are asking the same question, so you only end up asking 2 questions. You don't have to ask all 3. But if you have things important to you, we will ask. We just need to make sure you ask that exact same question to all 4 of the candidates when they come up for their interview.
Before the commission goes, do you all also want a time for one-on-ones with the candidates?
That was not beneficial at that last one. Yeah, I saw 2 different people. One in the
I say
one-on-one
let's
and
have
one
the
in
interviews
public.
and let's select our city manager.
Let's just do it.
Okay.
Sunshine, transparency, let's get it done. If they want to meet individually with us afterwards, like especially we pick our top 2, it'd probably be good if we actually all met with them after it was done and go, hey, I'm Dave Lowry. How are you? Especially if you don't already know them.
Mayor, may I? Are you all planning on selecting the manager directly after that interview or those interviews, or you going to narrow it down to top 2 and then?
My thoughts are we select a top person and a runner-up. And if the top person does not get the salary, contract, negotiation, whatever it is that he or she is looking for, we already have a designated alternative.
Okay, so coming out of the whatever day the meeting is,
yes, sir,
there will be a number 1 and a number 2, and then authorization to go negotiate a contract with the number 1.
That is my intent. Commissioners, are you good with that?
Yeah, so we'll have to make a motion that day.
At the conclusion of that.
We need a break. We probably need. Right.
No.
But we'll have a number 1. We'll have a number 1 and a number 2. So maybe we do the interviews, all 4 of them. We schedule those, and then we have like an hour set aside for the 5 of us to basically do our jury deliberation thing here, right? Where we discuss it. We go back and forth. I really like Jones did this, and Smith said this, and this really hit it out of the park, whatever it is. We discuss it like a jury, but it's open. So everybody can hear our inputs and our back and forth, and then we make our selection. Sunshine Law, that's how we have to do it.
I can work with Jennifer to come up with a plan, and we can distribute that to the commissioners beforehand and make sure that you all are comfortable with it and tweak it as we need to. So going into those interviews, you know what the plan will be.
Rob, I want to publicly thank you for being here. I know you're an old hat. You were our attorney years ago. You've been through actually 2 city manager hires with us as an organization. Your experience is invaluable here, and I want to publicly thank you for stepping up and filling in as we kind of potentially transition and help Jennifer Hodges with this. I very much appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
And did we decide that they will draw numbers to who goes first?
Sure.
That seems like the fairest way.
And I'll leave that for Jennifer. In fact, Jody Moore, I'm going to ask you to help her. You 2 will draw the hats. Just because you're in line of sight, I'm going to ask you to help draw the numbers with Jennifer Hodges. You 2 will decide the rack and stack.
I'm not touching it.
That's what you get for sitting in the front row or second in the front row. All right. Anything else on that?
The only last thing that I'll add for y'all to consider is that you can have an open discussion and try to hash it out among yourselves. You could also have written ballots beforehand where each one of you pick either just 1 or 2, and then if nobody gets any votes, then that person is out, and then you can hash it out with the 2 that you pick that are in there. And so if you do with just one person, if you just pick your top person, there's going to be, if everybody picks the same top person, there's no need for a discussion. If there's more than one top person, then you need to probably hash it out with those. And that's something that narrow the discussion down.
But we could decide that on that day.
You can decide that. We can suggest that, and you guys can decide how you want to do it based on how the interviews go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Did that give you enough
sir.
guidance to press forward?
Yes, and the first thing I'll be doing is sending an email to you for you to clear your calendars or tell me if there's any date any of you cannot be present. Got to start there, and then we go to the candidates.
Okay. All right. Thank you for what you've done, and thank you for what you're about to do. All right. So, are we good there? All right. If there is no other discussion amongst the commission there, let's go to what was 16, I guess now 17, the mayor's report, really quickly. Who else? I'm sorry. Oh, my apologies. Yep. Okay. My apologies. I wrote on the bottom of it. So we're at 15. We're at public commentary. First, we have Miss Jerry Parker.
I'm not going to give a whole lot of more information, but I would like to know if 18th Street would please get paved. There's so many potholes for so many years on that street, 18th Street. Please, y'all get that paved. That needs to be paved. That's right across the street from McDonald's. Please.
On which side of 77?
On this side.
Okay.
It's right there where Diego's is. And right there, that road is horrible. And I've said it probably 4 or 5 times before. So please try to get it paved, not gravelled, but paved.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you, Ms. Parker. Christy McElroy.
Already brought up what I wanted to mention. This is 9th Street. People park over there. This parking lot gets full. And not only that, try to back up in this parking lot and you're in a truck, you might end up hitting someone. You need a crosswalk across 9th Street with the little flashy lights so that when somebody starts to approach, cars see it. You also have a park over there with a lot of children. Like I said, little Tyke on a bike this big was almost mowed over tonight. Lady was in a taller vehicle. She can't see the little Tyke this big. So if you could get some signs put out there, watch out for children. I think that would be most helpful since you've got a very heavily used park by children. Now, if you didn't have general public comment, I wouldn't be able to say that.
All right. Any other catch-all public commentary? I got 2. I let Corey go first last time. I saw Bashir. So Mr. Bashir, Miss Bashir, Corey, and Miss Jody.
Ever since we started having meetings in this building, we've struggled as the citizens to hear y'all speak. And it's an ongoing problem. It's sometimes we can hear you, sometimes we can't. Can we get some of those little headsets that have the microphone that comes in front of your mouth where we can hear y'all well each time instead of maybe hearing you, maybe not hearing you? I think that would be helpful if we could get some of those little headsets. I think it would help us a lot out there. I think it would really help us.
So just so you know, our IT guy in the back, literally, we had a discussion earlier tonight. He's actually putting together a proposal. We're actually looking to redo the speakers and actually even perhaps put up some curtains to help off this arch and off the back for the sound. And instead of the radio frequencies, actually doing an RF with these microphones and actually getting some more effective microphones. that doesn't work, probably the
I'm a little-
McDonald's drive-through like I did in high school, those kind, yeah. Hopefully we won't have to get there, but a little bit better retrograde here because the acoustics are awful in here.
Right. It just, because the microphone distance, y'all are all different, and the gains, I know he's got the gain turned up, but that's something that can be worked on. Hopefully we'll get that cured.
But true story, and the IT guy can vouch for me. He's literally putting together a proposal for us to look at exactly that. So you're spot on, Johnny.
We've already received one quote. We're working on the others.
Okay. Ms. Bashir, you were next.
I want to talk about the 8th and 9th Street, or the 9th Street crossings here. When Johnny was running for office, we saw a lot of balls run out. We saw a lot of stuff. I've been talking to Bobby Baker about getting crosswalks, blinky signs. It's a funding issue at this point. Y'all need to allot the funds to do that work. I completely agree. This is a dangerous area, and people come off 77. And I've also asked maybe for 10th Street to be closed off some to, make that safer. Y'all have got to do something.
Well,
Is this CRA? Can we do something through CRA? Probably.
CRA is a possibility. Just general funds is also another. And, we have a brand new police chief here with a pair of fresh eyes. So I'm going to ask him, not formally tasking, I'm asking for our new police chief and deputy police chief to take a look at that specific intersection. Gentlemen, y'all have heard the concerns tonight. Would y'all please take a hard look at that? It'll be a good teaching and learning opportunity for you two to work together and come back with some recommendations to the city manager and the commission, please. And they can do that literally tomorrow. Yes, ma'am.
Michelle, I also have to say that I agree with what she's saying for sure. But if a child is maimed or killed right out here in our park, guess what? It'll cost us a lot more than the cost of a few signs.
Yeah, I saw one run out after one of those airplanes and the balls, and we sat out there for a whole week and watched it. You were out there too, right there in front of the park.
Yes.
We're going to have our new top cop and deputy chief take a look at that. They can look at it tomorrow. Yes, ma'am. Little too late tonight. All right, Miss Jody, you were next, Corey. I'm sorry, and then Miss Jody.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to go off of what Ms. Michelle just said. I did have I'll wait till my report.
Okay, sir. Corey.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a minute to really explain how much what I just had to come up here and say pained me to do. I did not want to have that conversation, at least not in this forum. There's a lot of questions that I have for several of the candidates, and I hope they address it in their opening statement. I want to know why the cat got fired, right? I got some questions that I hope Mr. Detweiler answers. Okay, so I'm not anti Mr. Lightfoot. I'm not pro Mr. Lightfoot. I'm not pro anyone or anti anyone. Okay, that's all I want is for the process to play out. 4 of you got it right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sir. All right, Miss Jody. Miss Arlene, are you standing up to? Okay.
All right. Just a few odds and ends. Sam, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for you to be blasted, but there is a proper procedure, which I know. So, that needed to be second. You had an option also not to second, but I'm glad the discussion was had because I think it needed to be. I do want to say, too, that when it comes to the city manager interviews, I hope that one of the questions for Mr. Lightfoot in the interview will be the question that Mr. Langford had with an answer, because we didn't get one tonight. And when I'm up here talking, I just want to say this is why public commentary is important, because of the odds and ends that I'm saying right now. So I hope it's not taken away at the meetings. I think we need to have open public commentary. Sometimes things come up in the meeting, and then, I don't want to have to wait till Saturday, 2 weeks later or whatever. So I hope that the answer will be that we keep open public commentary. I know it isn't always fun, but, when you run for office, that's what you're up there for, is to listen to the citizens, listen to the people. I just want to also talk about the city attorney. That issue, it's kind of interesting to me how that all came about. I do think, and all I'm going to say about that is, this commission needs to work together. You're one body. We have a chairman who's the leader of the meeting, but you guys are the boss, all 5 of you. So y'all need to work together on decisions that happen. But I think Judy referenced it earlier. We did have a in-house attorney. Actually, weren't you the in-house attorney at one time? No. Okay. So you worked for a company and came in.
I work for the same law firm that represents the city now.
Yes. Okay.
I've been here since 2002.
Okay. I thought maybe you were an in-house attorney, but years ago. Okay. But we have had that before. And the bottom line is whoever we get needs to be ethical, above board, and have good decisions, good opinions, for whoever it is, whether it's a firm that comes in, otherwise. And I have a question for the city attorney regarding the consent agenda. This kind of bothers me. Public commentary, I'm sorry, not public commentary, on the consent agenda. That's an item that's voted on, so shouldn't there be public commentary? I know it isn't traditionally done, or I've seen it. It's like public commentary doesn't happen because the commission just votes on it. But I think that there actually should be, before the vote is taken on the consent agenda, you should have the citizens have a chance to ask questions, especially if you eliminate public commentary and we can't even talk about it at the meeting, or even if you keep public commentary, it's at the end now. And then, we don't get a chance to talk about that issue before you vote on it. Whatever those items are. So what is the answer to that on public commentary for the consent agenda? Should there be public commentary?
Go
ahead, sir.
So I would think, and I have not looked at that issue, but I would think that there should be public commentary at the end of the commission, at the consent
agenda. Thank you.
Any item on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy to take a look at that if Mr. Lightfoot wants.
Okay, because it isn't happening, and I think there should be a vote when anything that you vote on at a meeting, there should be public commentary. Yes, sir.
I think we've been doing that, but I think we just missed it tonight.
And that's probably your inexperienced mayor with his third whole,
You're not the only one. No, seriously. I have, Mayor Nelson did the same thing. But that's something that has bothered me that needs to happen. All right. Thanks.
And if that was an error on my part, I apologize. There was no intent to screw up the process there. But if I jumped that,
okay,
we should have caught that too.
Okay, no problem. Like I said, it wasn't just you. I've noticed that before. All right, thanks.
The new guy excuse only works so long, and I got a month on the job now, so I can't use that anymore. But my bad. So if that was something I erred on, I'll make a note to ensure that we get the commentary on the consent agenda. Normally, those are very non-controversial, non-issues, right? So it is what it is. But thank you for catching it. All right. So if there is no other public commentary, we'll move on to the mayor's report and the commission reports real quick. It's been a long meeting. I appreciate the handful of you that are still here. You're the diehards, and I appreciate y'all participating tonight. Mayor's report very quickly, month on the job now. I'm still grateful to be a part of this team and honored to be here with you four and you citizens. We had our art awards for all these for African American or Black History Month earlier this afternoon. Commissioner Warwick handed out a whole bunch of well-earned ribbons, and we were able to recognize students from 3 or 4 different schools. 3, 4.
Yeah, three schools. One of the schools had 3 grades.
So a whole bunch of students anyway. So the place was packed, and it wasn't for a controversial issue or meeting. And most everybody had smiles on their faces. So that was a good thing. That's all I've got. Happy to be here and proud to serve. So we started last time on the right with Commissioner Tender. So we'll start again over here with Commissioner Perno tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much to report. I do know that, it's been a tough meeting, but I don't think I'm giving any disservice to the city on how I feel, and my integrity speaks for itself. I did review all the candidates. I read the flow sheets, and I made my decision based on that. And we weighted our decisions. I spoke to Gerard. There was other people that I wanted, but I said with conviction I had one candidate, and that was it. And I have the right to that opinion, and I'm sorry if it offends people or they think I'm doing a disservice to this city. I think I've served the city for the last 8 years, and I don't have any problems putting my head on a pillow either, as Mr. Langford would say. So, take that for what it's worth. I know you can stick it in the beacon, whatever you want to do. So I would like to thank Chelsea, Melissa, John, and Margaret, the other candidates who we did not select, and that, man, I again think that it was very, very powerful people are stepping forward to serve our city, and that's a good sign. So I know when I leave the city with a smile on my face a year from April, that I hope a very qualified person is going to take the chair, and I think we're aiming to that. So at this point, the way I feel tonight, I'm sure that I'm feeling low and they're aiming high. So again, I'm sorry if I wasted anybody's time. I will say that I did get an email. I was going to expound on what Miss Michelle said, but a mom was at the park on President's Day, and it was packed over there. Lots of moms, lots of kids, and her kid and another mom had to run it. She has 3 boys, and they're hell on fire. So one of them took off, gravitated to water. Most autistic kids escape to water. So we don't have much fence over there around that lake that we expanded, and it's near the playground. And if a kid gets away from a mom, and kids on the spectrum run straight in the water, and some of them don't know how to swim, and that's not a good thing. So it's something that we need to address. I spoke to city manager. He said he talked to Ty, and it's something we're going to look at. I do think CRA dollars would be well spent on some safety issues over there, we're going to be looking at some budgetary constraints with some issues with the state legislature if it goes down like that. So we need to think about what we've got to do there. Also, I'd like to thank our new police chief and our ex-interim police chief, deputy police chief that are back there in the back of the room. A couple bald heads back there. I appreciate you guys. I want to welcome our new chief, and it's always good to have new blood. I've got an old friend who was in the police department in Gainesville. I don't think he's in town this week, but I'd love to get you guys together to have some war stories and talk about some things, because he was a high-ranking officer in the Gainesville Police Department. And so, but with that being said, all of our city employees, all of our department heads, and everybody who sat through this meeting, who came and cared, I really appreciate you and your time. So thank y'all for being here. That's my report.
Only one response, Commissioner Perno, before Commissioner Peebles starts. You've heard me say this a lot, and I will say it to you here with very much respect. It's better to be hated for who you are than beloved for who you're not. And you have made your intentions and your convictions very clear in your preference, and you've been remarkably consistent.
Yeah, and I could give a rat's ass about what other people think about what that I'm disserving the city of Lynn Haven. That's bullshit.
Understood. And I respect your convictions, and you've made it very clear what your preferences are, and I salute you for that, and I appreciate your service here very much. And that's,
you can spell that in the notes too, okay? Not bovine feces, bull.
So, Commissioner Peebles.
First, I want to say welcome home, Chief. We're happy to have you. And thank you, Deputy Chief Enfinger, for all you did. Great job. And also the shout out for the, what was it? The marshal. What was, yeah. Federal marshal we got the report sent to us. Great job. Next, Ms. Bashir's if you have, before you leave, get with me, and I wanted to get information from you about the FDLE since you have some information on it. Maybe we can figure out who I need to talk to get the information. Okay. All right. Because I do feel bad. I should have got with you sooner on that, and I apologize. And then, oh, okay. Don't leave without seeing me first, if that's okay. And then finally, I just wanted to use the rest of my time to talk about something that I've been meaning to bring up, but it just hasn't come up. So I'm just going to use my report for it. So one of the things that I'd like to do is something that we had been doing in the past, and it kind of died off, is we were bringing forward new ordinances to review, because a lot of our ordinances are from 1996. In the past, I don't know if it was city manager that put it on the agenda or the former chair, but that was one thing that when I was campaigning that I was really wanted to do, and I definitely noticed among talking to people. So I would like to bring that back up. I don't know if anyone has the history of that. Mayor Lowry, if you want to head that up, if you want me to head that up, I'm happy to do that, to coordinate with Mr. Lightfoot or whatever. But I would like to get that back on our agendas to go through our old ordinances, because a lot of them are very outdated. For example, there are a few of our ordinances that some of the words I would consider derogatory, you know. We don't want that in our city. We also want, the language to be modernized, because in my opinion, I know that ultimately ordinances are in place so that you have something to enforce, but I also believe the ordinances are in place so that it's a rule book that the city understands, code enforcement understands, and the citizens understand. And there are some ordinances that we can update to make them more readable for the general public that may not understand certain acronyms or whatever. So, I mean, you get it with the military and all that. So that's my report. I'll be at the TPO meeting tomorrow. That's the first one I'll be there present, so I'm looking forward to it. As weird as this sounds, the last one I went to, my first one was Death by PowerPoint, and I actually enjoyed the PowerPoints, which was kind of crazy to say, but I did. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And that's my report.
Commissioner Peebles, if you want to volunteer to spearhead an ordinance relook, sir, I would be honored to have you bird dog that. And the rest of the commission can follow your lead on that. Fresh pair of eyes is, or maybe we end up dividing it up and we all do a divide and conquer, but it clearly needs to be done. And, whatever the biggest, closest gators are to the boat, the ones with derogatory language are the ones that desperately need common sense, modern updating. Those are the ones that we need to look at first. So thank you for volunteering to do that.
Mayor, if I may, on that, I mean, we probably need to wait until the decision is made for the attorney and the city manager. I mean, we can't have a law firm that's serving on an interim basis until you all make a decision, and a city manager serving on an interim basis until you all make a decision to look at ordinances.
I agree with you.
That's fair. That's fair. Once these two are done, Sam, let's look to launch that, and I'll help you with it. However we need to tag team, but I'd love for you to bird dog that. And thank you for volunteering. Commissioner Ward.
So just a reminder, 9th of March was the Bay County League of Cities event. I believe Commissioner Pernell, you're going. Peoples, you're going. Mayor, you're going.
Check my calendar. 9th of March.
Right. You're not going. You're going. CJ's going. Yeah. So Monday, it's at Uncle Ernie's. So
what time?
It starts at 5:30.
The calendar invite has been sent to everyone.
So, but if you can't go, please let me know so we don't have a extra dinner we have to pay for.
Sure.
I don't know if anybody's been out to the Atlantis Event Center. It used to be the old Sally Mae building. Now and then became Maximus. I know Commissioner Tender is very familiar with that building.
Yes.
If you have not been over there, I highly, highly urge you to go over and get a tour of it. It's, to me, if it ends up being successful, I think it's going to be a game changer for Lynn Haven. I mean, it's a 133,000 square foot building, and they can use it for all kinds of big events, which is a big void in Bay County, especially ever since the Marina Civic Center is no longer there, ever since the hurricane. So I really highly encourage you all to do that because I think there's a lot of opportunities there. Of course, it's privately owned, but being educated on it and seeing where maybe we could help them in one way or another, I think it would be very beneficial for the community.
Is it built out? Is it?
What's that?
Is it built out? Like, is it already built? Or are they
No, they're
building it
working
out?
on it.
They're
but,
working on it.
But they already have it set up where they can do certain events, like FSU is having a graduation there in May.
Right.
And then people can have weddings, the wedding receptions. I mean, they're talking in the future of having concerts in there. And I don't mean just like a local band.
That's
I'm
big.
talking like headliner type
Yeah,
stuff.
that's big.
It's a huge, as you know, it's a huge building. And so when I had the tour, one of the questions I had is, what can't you do in here that they could do at the old Marina Civic Center? And the gentleman didn't have an answer because there's enough room. The only thing that's a big difference is it doesn't have the tiered seating, you know, but they have ideas for that. And so after I did that, I don't know if you remember Jennifer Vigil from Panama, Destination Panama City came and talked to us.
Bed tax?
I talked to her on Monday and got a lot of information from her, and that kind of relates to this Atlantis Event Center, and I think it could. And so there's a lot of I shouldn't say moving pieces. There's a lot of information to learn because I didn't understand how all that stuff works. And she explained it all to me, and she gave me a good graphic to explain all of it. And I'd highly recommend all you do that also because I think that might be something we should look at. So that's what I've been up to.
Could we have her back? Could we have her back at a meeting to?
We could, but I think we should talk to her first so we understand what our options are, because there is a couple different options, and it's understanding how all those come together. I can't explain it all like right here, right now, but it's a lot. Kind of have in your head and understand how it all plays out.
You mean in terms of all the capabilities that they could provide as in
How it's all organized.
conventions?
Does she go around and come here, or would we have to go see her, or where did you meet her?
I met her at Panama City Destination.
Okay, Destination Panama
downtown.
City,
Yeah.
downtown. Okay.
Yep.
That'd be awesome. The biggest limb fact there I see is we only have one hotel in Lynn Haven, right?
Right. And they're in favor of it.
Yeah, but
That's
we
the
have a
most
lot of
important
Airbnbs and more coming online. That was her point when she presented to us. That we do only have one hotel, but we have more and more real estate turn into Airbnb in Lynn Haven.
That and going back to Atlantis Event Center.
Yeah.
The opportunities out there, maybe some other hotels could show up.
Sure.
So. And I'll just echo whatever everything's been said. I am so excited that we have a new police chief, and I'm just floored with it, and I'm really looking forward to working with him. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tender.
Thank you, Mayor. First, on the ordinances, I have to say, I've seen ordinances that tie your horse up outside of businesses. We actually, at the cafe, were threatened every day for a week years ago about having an open sign out front and where it was going to be put and all that business. But the ordinances definitely need to be looked at. Fire department, fire chief's not here tonight, but I'm so excited, and I know we hired two, but I know Nate, and boy, have we gained a real asset to the city of Lynn Haven. He's one of the new firefighters. Also, I want everybody to say an extra prayer for Kevin Hogan. He was a deputy at the sheriff's department that passed 2 days ago. Young man. I spent about 3 hours with his mother today, and she's only the mother of one son. And so everybody say a prayer for her and for him. Like she said, I know where he's at now. And he's a veteran and very nice tributes to him on Facebook. But my heart goes out to her too. But we've got the police chief, I'm excited. I've seen good things already. And anything positive is something we need to grab a hold of and hold on tight. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. And so, Chief, that's 4 new welcomes. I'll make it a 5th. We're proud to have you with us. We're proud of Steve's service as the deputy and interim for quite a while. And you guys are going to make one hell of a tag team. So I'll leave it at that. We're now on to item 18, interim city manager's report.
The Davis Lake drawdown ended today. It was supposed to end March 1st. FWC emailed. They said go ahead and close the gate there, so staff got that taken care of. I would like to invite you all to Coffee with a Cop March 5th from 10 to 12 at Starbucks. The Bayou Preserve Park will be closed to the public Thursday and Friday, February 26th and 27th for the Bay County Sheriff's Office K-9 Search and Rescue Training Seminar. The new playground at Kane Griffin Park is almost complete. Irrigation and sod are scheduled for this week, and fence installation scheduled to begin March 11th. The spring Art in the Park event is scheduled for March 20th. The 1300 and 1400 block of Minnesota Avenue sidewalk project is moving right along. If you go through there, they're making a lot of progress. We did have a meeting today for the Living Shoreline Grant. Sent you that, Commissioner Perno. And Jacobs is working great with Dr. Graham over there. We will have a community workshop, probably the last meeting in April prior to the commission meeting, and let the public see what we're doing there outside the wastewater treatment plant on the shoreline, as well as at the Bayou Preserve Park shoreline. And then I would like to invite Chief Blanchard to come up. I know it's a late meeting, but just to give a quick introduction. I know the public is pretty much gone for the evening, but those still watching at home can hear from Chief Blanchard for just a second. Oh, yes.
Good evening.
Appreciate it. Keep it short and sweet. Loving what I'm being able to do so far. I appreciate the honor. We have been able to meet with about half the staff, one-on-ones so far. We've got some meetings set up after that. We've got Coffee with a Cop coming up to meet the community. Deputy Chief caught a murder suspect this morning with some of our partners. We've working on solving the problems that Commissioner Tender brought forward and a few others. And anything that you need, we're here for you. We'll do our best to make it better.
Would like
so much
to make sure you all are at March 2nd as the swearing-in ceremony for Chief Blanchard, as well as some new officers and some promotions that have been outstanding. So would like for y'all to be there 10 a.m. March 2nd here in the chambers. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and welcome.
Any questions on the checklist from Ms. Marsh?
All right, that's it. All right, finance report. Just to Ms. Marsh, nothing else. All right, city attorney report. Rob, not meaning to put you on the spot. I don't know if you have anything to follow up on.
I have two quick things. I guess first off, I think the commission knows why I'm here, but just so y'all know, Amy is at the bar, administering the bar exam. She's been elected to be a member of the Florida Bar Examiners, and so she's helping give the bar exam in Tampa. So I'm filling in temporarily while that happens. 2, Amy had a follow-up item from last commission meeting to determine the cost of the election for the charter, and contacted the supervisor election today. If we do it in August with the countywide election, it'll be free for the city. If we call a special election, the estimate is $28,000.
Makes a lot of sense. And Sammy, we're right on point.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for supporting us tonight. All right. Well,
well, it's probably free as long as you keep it down to that one page, I think.
I don't know. I'll follow
so.
up. And I did need to follow up on the date that we would need to get the information. My guess would be May.
I think it's June.
Yeah, June. Okay. Right.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else for the good of the order,